time last year. The California Highway Patrol says 1,001 drivers have been arrested statewide since Friday. Officials say that figure represents 51 more arrests this year than over the same period last year. Let's head outside now and take a look at the roadways. We do have road work to report. The Napa-Solano County line westbound 80 at American Canyon Road, and apparently there's no traffic advisory for this, so look out for that. Heading into San Francisco, this is westbound 80 at the toll plaza. The meter and lights are off. Traffic backed up to about the middle of the parking lot. For oil changes and routine maintenance, including serpentine belts and fuel filters, air filters, and even wiper blades, nobody does it like Jiffy Lube. Taking a look at KGO weather now for the San Francisco Bay Area for your evening, mostly clear with low clouds and fog moving in through the night. Low temperatures are expected to be in the mid-50s to 60s. Right now in Sacramento, 70 degrees, Walnut Creek 61, and in San Francisco 55 and fair. I'm Kelly Denson, KGO Radio News.
Well, once again, good evening, Radio Land. For the next 3 hours, you're listening to the Open Line to the West Coast over the world's greatest news talk radio station, KGO, San Francisco, 810-810 on the AM dial, everywhere from this ABC flagship station to the entire West Coast. And tonight we'll have 40 to 55 of you on this program as usual. That's what I call talk radio. And the topic, whatever you think is the most important for millions out there listening to this, the most listened to program and radio station. Signal is just as clear in Alaska and Mexico out to the Rocky Mountains as it is right here in the Bay Area. So come along, join in. Your number into the KGO switchboard, which is wide open here right now, won't be for long, 8080810. And if you're outside the immediate Bay Area, dial one of the Bay Area codes, 415-510-707, 408 or 650, and then that magic number, 8080810. And I need to remind you, or I'm proud to say, this hour of the Open Line to the West Coast is brought to you by Northern California Chevy. See your Northern California Chevy dealer today. And how many times have I told you, you're really missing something. If you're going to pay money for a foreign car, if you don't go take a look at the very best made in this country now, you'll be surprised, pleasantly surprised, I guarantee you. Last night I kind of struck out. Gee, time and again, people ask questions of things I knew nothing about, or I goofed up and said the wrong things. Matter of fact, our producer, Jay Westerling, and our engineer, Shane Sharkey, rescued me. I had to put them both on the microphone a few times. What was it? Oh, yeah. One of them was, that's right, guy was playing classical music. He wanted to know how to get automatic level control so it wouldn't become too weak one minute, too loud the next. And I didn't know about these things called compressors. Jay is a real musician, and Shane's an expert on audio production, has his own company, Big Toe Audio, by the way, if you want any audio or radio work done. Anyway, they came on the air and explained that. I'd never heard about compressors that'll do that. You can buy them. Then the next one was, fellow said, why does this TV pop when it's turned off? And I guessed that it might still be because the filament is left on, even though it's turned off. Expert called in, pointed out in the newer televisions they don't keep the filament powered up. That's a waste of a lot of energy. But they do keep the control circuits powered up. And the static charge on the tube could discharge and provide some pops anyway. And finally, the one I really stumbled over, is a fellow called to ask if the mean pictures painted on some of the airplanes actually scared the birds. And I told him I doubted it very seriously. And by golly, Jay immediately did a little research and sent me a news article where Nippon Airlines in Japan had done the experiment of painting a mean picture of an eagle or something or a hawk on their airplanes, and they found a reduction of about 8 to 1 in terms of collisions with birds in their airplanes. Big bucks, by the way. So, gee, I hope I can do a little better tonight, but I'll bet you've got some tough questions. Let's begin with John in San Francisco. You're on KGO.
Good evening, Dr. Wattenberg.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, I'd like to ask a question. Due to the heavy rainfall that we've had this year and also the high table content of snow, I was wondering if that's going to affect the Feather River and the water table levels. And if it's going to affect it that much, I wonder if we're going to see you having to operate a D8 bulldozer again like you did a long time ago.
You mean, in the floods of 83 and 96, the Pineapple Express wiped out the entire Feather River Highway. I was down there with all my equipment on the D8L. That's probably what you saw.
Uh-huh.
And we literally had to rebuild that highway to get through. This time, it's been fairly mild. The runoff was well controlled. It's been a beautiful event in the sense, if you drive by Lake Orville right now, you'll see it full. And I would imagine Shasta the same way for the first time in a long time.
That's great.
And it is great. And, of course, when you have that much water, it also recharges the water table in the ground. So it's all positive.
Oh, great. That's great. The last time I was up at the Feather River was last year, and I didn't see any of the rainbows at, like, Rock Creek and Poe at the PG&E substations. Usually I see rainbows, actually. I know it sounds silly, but I do.
No. The water vapor at the outlet of those big powerhouses, if the sun is just right, you'll see a rainbow in the mist right above the discharge vents.
Yes, that's quite true.
Yeah. Hey, well, it's very pretty up here, and thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Take care. Gregory in Forney, I guess it is. Where are you located, Gregory?
Forney, Texas is 20 miles east of downtown Dallas.
Oh, boy. Well, you're listening on the Internet then.
Yes, I am. I used to live in California, and I was listening to you each week. Right now, only from time to time on the Internet.
Well, I'm really complimented. What's on your mind, Gregory?
Recently, I was recruited by a multi-level company, which is called 4E, which stands for Energy, Economy, Environment, and Ethics.
Yes.
They are distributed fuel reformulator ethos. Just recently, I've got 32 bottles of this product, and at the same time, I heard from some person that this product created some problems. And right now, I have a problem because I don't want to contribute to the same problems that we used to have with MTBS.
Yes.
Have you heard about ethos?
Well, there's several companies out that are encouraging investors with real whiz-bang claims that they can make gasoline or ethanol out of a variety of substances, and it's true. You can most any biomaterial can be fermented into alcohol. It's a question of how efficient it is, how much it costs, and so forth. Some of their claims, I think, are pretty wild, and it's interesting. I've had at least 3 friends in the last 2 weeks ask me who've been approached by people who want them to invest in these things. My advice is, why don't you just wait and see when this company starts to turn a profit, actually sell its product, and prove it can produce the fuel, the ethanol, or whatever it is, and make a profit.
Well, in fact, it's an additive, and they claim that it causes that the fuel is burned more clean.
That part, I think, is basically a fraud. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because the automotive engineers and the oil companies as well, you realize that the incentive, the amount of money that the car companies can make by improving mileage by even 1/10 of a mile per gallon, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars.
Exactly.
Any additive out there that would do that, they would be telling you to use it, all right?
Well,
because Gregory, stop and think a minute.
Uh-huh.
They don't have to pay for the gasoline you burn or the things you put in the gas tank, do they? You do.
Correct.
And if there was something that really improved the gas mileage, or for the fleet of cars made in the world, they'd be telling you to use it. I mean, you better pay attention to that, Gregory.
Well, I am. This is the reason I'm calling you.
Well, look out. My advice to people when they're asked to invest in these startup whiz-bang ideas is I say to them, why don't you wait until they're profitable and then join the second round of investment when they need to expand, they need capital. You'll have a good opportunity then, huh?
Okay.
Why don't you do that?
Thank you very much.
Take care. KGO time now, 10:15. You're listening to the Open Line to the West Coast over the world's greatest news talk radio station, KGO San Francisco, 810 on the AM dial everywhere. And there's still a few lines for you on this switchboard. It's mostly full here. We'll work our way through, and you keep dialing. We'll have you on the air. Wendell in San Jose. You're on KGO San Francisco.
Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz. Okay. You must be moving. You must be moving on us, Wendell.
Last time we spoke was quite a while back discussing the fog blankets. And the reason I called tonight is I was just going to get your opinion. Do you think it might be useful for us to maybe take a tree census on the redwood trees that are left so we can make a fair determination how many to actually put aside or preserve for future?
Well, are you talking about the old growth?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about the second growth?
I'm talking about the old growth, not the second growth, the old growth.
I think there is a pretty good consensus of the old growth. The headwaters forest, of course, has been intensely studied and protected, and most of the old growth regions that are on state and government lands are all totally protected. But you have to realize that the second growth, in many places, the trees are so big that people think they've never been touched, and they don't realize that they've regrown in the last 100 years.
No, that is true, and I recommend all the listeners go to Henry Cowell Redwood Grove in Felton if you want to see some of the real originals. There's a beautiful walk there.
Yes, I've seen those. I really admire them. And Muir Woods and up the coast, they're very beautiful. You have to understand, though, for all the hoopla you hear about older trees, they're essentially dead as far as contributing to the ecology and the climate. Some people claim, that they're a vast haven for all sorts of species, but there's nothing in them that you won't find in younger, rapidly growing trees. Our healthiest forests are those that are mid-level in age, rapidly growing. See? And it's our biggest resource. They're all the redwood forests that are regenerating and being cut for the resource we need.
So you're comfortable then with the current status on the trees right now?
Well, I'm comfortable because I don't know of any significant number of old growth that are not protected.
Oh, great. Okay.
Fine. I mean, can you tell me some?
No. I'm glad to hear that.
I want to tell you why. I know a little bit about this. In 1986, while the Sierra Club and the rest of these so-called environmental saviors of the world were sitting on their butts, I started the campaign on KGO to save the headwaters forest. And the reason I started it is that the company that owned that 6,000 acres of old growth, Pacific Lumber Company, had its headquarters not far from our studio in San Francisco. They were one of the most respected timber companies in the world because of their sustained yield harvesting and replanting and so forth. But the company was bought by a Sharpie named Horowitz down in Texas, and it was clear Horowitz was going to have to cut all this old growth to pay to pay off the debt that he incurred in buying the company.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
So I started the campaign and warned everyone. They didn't believe me for a while.
My hat's off to you.
What? Well, then Clint Eastwood and I'm slipping here. Former president of Disney, great guy, he was killed in a helicopter accident. Both stepped in and helped me here on the air to get awareness of what could happen, and started the campaign to save the headwaters forest. But actually, I have to tell you, over the next, it was 86 through 92. The so-called tree huggers damn near killed it. They alienated so many people with, chaining themselves in congressmen's offices and spitting on everybody in sight. The general interest almost died. And finally, the government stepped in, federal government, with help from Senator Feinstein, and they put together a program to buy out Horowitz, to own the trees, which is the proper thing to do, is to buy them if you're going to take them away.
Right.
But the Sierra Club didn't jump on the bandwagon until it was within 3 years of an accomplishment. And all the time they were out defrauding the general public, in my opinion. They really made me mad.
Well, congratulations for doing a good deed like that. I appreciate that.
Well, every time I criticize the eco-frauds, though, they think I'm against the environment. So.
No, it doesn't sound like it to me.
Where were they? We had to do the same thing for the Tongass National Forest, our biggest rainforest. in southeastern Alaska. Started on this program. Took 4 years to get Congress to even realize we owned the forest that was being given away. Huh? So that's why I know a little bit about your redwoods.
Thanks, Doctor.
Hey, I like your idea, though, and it's very important. KGO time now, 10:24. 'Thousands of folks with older homes are making the very best investment they can to their best investment, their older home. They're replacing the old single-pane, noisy, drafty windows with top-of-the-line dual-pane windows and doors. It makes a tremendous improvement in the looks and appraised value, always a big reduction in energy bills. Well, you don't have to take quotes from high-pressure salesmen. There's a famous company that's been around for years. Thousands have used them. They're called newpane.com, spelled Newpane, like windowpane.com. You can log on to newpane.com. Right on the tube, you can put in the dimensions of the windows in your home, measure them approximate. We just got an interruption there from somebody in the studio, but I'll continue. So right on the tube, if you log on to newpane.com, you can put in the specs on someone else's quote if you'd like, and you'll get instantly, in every case, a fully priced quotation for a full installation, not a nickel more. And you're going to get a surprise. You won't hear from them, but I'll bet you when you see the price comparisons, you'll be calling them. And when you do, newpane.com will send an expert to do precise measurements and schedule an installation, generally within 28 days. And they'll give you customer references from Sonoma to San Diego and encourage you to call or check up on them. Now, you can't beat that, but you can't avoid the price comparison. You're foolish if you don't. You can call them at an 800 number if you can't log on to newpane.com. They have a toll-free number, office in the Woodland-Dixon area, 800-614-7263. That's 800-614-7263 for newpane.com. Yes. Hey, Bonnie in Paso Robles, you're on KGO San Francisco.
Hey, Dr. Bill.
Yeah.
We've spoken before.
Yeah.
I want to let you know how well I'm doing with my burro.
I remember that, yeah.
I was asking him, he's 2.5 now, and a little common sense and kindness, and
yes.
he's letting me ride him, but I'm about 145 pounds, I'm about 5'10", And I was wondering if one of your listeners might know when. You know, it seems like I'm kind of heavy for him yet.
How old is your?
One of your listeners might know how
old is your Burrow?
He's about 2.5 now.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to find at 145 pounds you're too heavy for him. You know, they're real sturdy little devils. And my experience when I was out on the ranch was they'll tell you in a hurry if they don't like too much weight on them. You know?
Well, his little knees just kind of buckle.
Do they? Well,
I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Listen in, someone who has some experience, but. Burros
I have another question.
Well, let me tell you, I want to finish, Bonnie. Burros are really sturdy little pack animals, and I don't know. I don't want to be cruel to them.
That's why I wanted him over in alpaca. You know,
and they can be pretty stubborn. You think a mule's stubborn, the little burro can be stubborn if they want to. So, all right. Well,
he's a sweetie pie.
Quickly. What else would you have?
Oh, I had a quick audio question for you. I know you don't care much for them, but I have a receiver that I bought special to drive my big old Alltech Lansing speakers off of, and I replaced the speaker wire, and you just dump the thing in it, and it cuts out, and it says check speaker wires, and I've replaced the speaker wires, and I've checked another set of speakers.
Okay, Bonnie, time's short. Does it really have a diagnostic message says check speaker wires?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's happening is it's sensing that the resistance has changed there, and it knows you don't have a good low resistance for the speaker wire and the output of the amplifier. You really do want to check the connections carefully. They can look like they're proper, but hey, have someone who really knows how to test these with an ohm meter. With an ohm meter, you see, you don't have one of the lines isn't broken somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks, Doc.
Good luck. Here's Kelly Denson with a KGO News Update.
Thank you, Dr. Bill. This is an update from the KGO radio newsroom. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert ordered the army to step up attacks in Gaza. Hamas responded by threatening to stage attacks inside Israel. Israel fired rockets on Monday into a Gaza building it says is used by militants a week after Palestinians captured an Israeli soldier. Iraq's most wanted list is out. Included on that list are Saddam Hussein's wife and daughter. Another big name on the list is the newly named leader of al-Qaeda in Iraq. And NASA is shooting for a July 4th shuttle launch. Today, poor weather forced officials to scrub the launch of Space Shuttle Discovery for the second straight day. Let's head outside now and take a look at the roadway. We have a road hazard in Oakland, westbound 24. This is to the southbound 13 connector. Lots of oil on that ramp. A motorcyclist lost control but was not injured. And in Fremont, southbound 680 at Mission Boulevard North, a vehicle stalled, blocking the left lane. Breakfast at McDonald's includes fresh farm, grade A eggs, real milk, and fresh dairy products. So grab an Egg McMuffin or Sausage McMuffin with egg, a high-quality way to start your day, only at McDonald's. Taking a look at KGO weather now for the San Francisco Bay Area for your evening. Mostly clear with low clouds and fog moving in through the night. Low temperatures are expected to be in the mid-50s to 60s. Right now in San Francisco, 55 and fair. I'm Kelly Denson, KGO Radio News.
Say, for about 20 years or more, I've told you about one of the world's greatest radios. In fact, everyone has tested the CC radio, including Popular Science, has called it the world's greatest AM tabletop radio. By tabletop, it means it's a portable that plays at home on a power cord with more power and facility than you'd find in a big console radio in someone's living room, but it also plays anywhere else on 4 D-cell batteries as a portable. But this radio, indeed, is the most sensitive AM radio you can find. And it's more than that. It has all the standard bands, AM, FM, TV audio, weather alert band, even has a weather alert system that works as an all-hazards alarm. And when I said facility, 5 memory buttons per band, sleep timer, alarm clocks, all the goodies. But when you pick up this radio and you feel the weight of it, you'll know there's something else very special. It has a big speaker tuned to voices. And if you love talk radio, or you know someone who does, they'll love the CC Radio Plus. It's priced at just $164.95, and that includes free ground shipping. You can give the C. Crane Company a call tomorrow at 800-522-8863. That number again for the CC Radio Plus, or for a free copy of their catalog, 93-page catalog, really worth reading, very informative. 800-522-8863, or you can see their hundreds of amazing products by logging on to ccradio.com. Getting pretty risque with some of these ads around here. I wonder if the FCC is going to come down on us for that. Here's a little good humor from Rosemeck, I believe, some observations on life. How important does a person have to be before they're considered assassinated instead of just murdered? Good question. Why do you have to put your 2 cents in, but it's only a penny for your thoughts? Where's the extra penny going? And there was another one here I thought was really clever. Really clever. Where is it here? How was it that we put a man on the moon before we figured out it would be a good idea to put wheels on luggage? Huh? And what disease did cured ham have actually have? Right? There's one here. Oh, yeah. That one's a little bit testy. Why do doctors leave the room while you change? They're going to see you naked anyway. And where is the other one I was looking at here? It was clever, and it said, Anyway, does a driver driving a hearse qualify for the carpool lane? That's really clever. Matt in Medford, Oregon. You're on KGO San Francisco.
Hey, Dr. Bill. Good evening.
Yeah.
I got a question about the salmon issue, and I got another question about our governor up here. But first, I want to get to the salmon issue. Remember, a couple years ago on Pushback.com, there was an issue about some people who videotaped and slaughtered, and they were caught beating to death some salmon just because they were born in a hatchery. Remember that?
Yes, that was quite an expose, and I made the world aware of that. There was also a story in the Wall Street Journal. It was from the people who were trying to destroy our hatchery system, claiming that they were unnatural fish. They weren't natural fish. They were destroying the native fish, and it was just sheer baloney.
And who ordered that? Who ordered that? And
The Oregon Department of Fish and Game actually ordered it and came up with this nonsense. And a federal agency, you have implanted in these agencies.
What agencies? What agencies?
Your environmental agencies, and they're in Oregon, the Department of Fish and Game. You've got many of them planted in the California Department of Fish and Game. The Brooklyn Junior College trained theorists who think they know all the answers to the world, and anything that man does is evil, and they all concluded that hatchery fish were unnatural, and therefore the hatchery should be closed, and the fish should be slaughtered so they couldn't produce eggs.
Oh, you're kidding! And that's why they were slaughtering and electrocuting us. Well,
they were caught on camera slaughtering them up in Oregon. They were caught doing it at the Columbia River, all over the place. It was part of your eco-nut movement to take the dams out of the Snake River and elsewhere.
Did National Resources and Defense Council support this?
Oh yeah, sure they did. Sierra Club sent the lawyers into court to defend it.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. This is what Sierra Club people are paying for with their dues. Now, Matt, I'll tell you the answer. The agency that stopped a lot of this nonsense is called the Pacific Legal Foundation, with an office in Sacramento, one in Washington. They have won many Supreme Court decisions stopping this nonsense. They went before the federal court in Eugene, Oregon, and pointed out that the salmon were not endangered as had been claimed by your eco-nuts up there on many occasions. And and guess who they had to argue with? They had to argue with the Sierra Club, justifying killing the hatchery salmon, claiming that they were unnatural. See?
Oh man, what about Governor Ted Kulongoski? What do you think of him?
I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I know there's one there that calls himself a physician who never learned.
Yes, his name is John Kitzhaber, and he was an emergency room doctor. And
he never learned any science or common sense because he justified this nonsense. I remember it well now. So,
what did he justify?
The killing, the closing down of the hatcheries, claiming that the hatchery fish were unnatural.
Oh, you're kidding!
The guy's got an MD degree, but he never learned anything about genetics.
He's an emergency room doctor. Yes, he's got a medical.
Well, yes, but he didn't learn anything. So hey, take care, Matt. Best I can do for you. KGO time now 10:44. Excuse me, 42. There's a flower company in Southern California called Absolutely Fresh Flowers. I told you about for the last 12 years, I guess. They now have a new name. It's called Farm Fresh Flowers, plural. A little easier for a lot of folks to remember, I guess. But they still have the same special flower deal to offer you, an amazing, amazing deal. They specialize in delivering enormous amounts of fresh-cut miniature carnations right to your door, right now. You'll get 2 huge bouquets, 25 stems for each bouquet, with a total over 125 blooms. And these flowers come in every color of the rainbow. Vibrant reds, pinks, purples, hot pinks, fuchsias, whites, two-tones. An explosion of color all mixed together. A perfect gift for anniversaries, birthdays, or just to say I love you. Or as many of my friends say also, just good preventative maintenance. These flowers are guaranteed to last at least 10 days after arrival. Your package is shipped overnight by FedEx delivery with care and handling instructions included. And you get all of this, the flowers, overnight shipping, and special instructions for just $57.95. That's right, just $57.95 for this special offer from Farm Fresh Flowers. You can call them after 7:30 a.m. at 1-800-999-2109. That's 1-800-999-2109. 800-999-2109. Or you can look them up online at farmfreshflowers.com. And be sure to tell them Bill Wattenberg, KGO, sent you. Favorite banjos. I remember them well from the bunkhouse. Good old boys couldn't quite do it that well, but they tried, and it was really sweet music in the middle of the night. We'll always love to hear it. We have lines open here on the KGO switchboard now. After 45 minutes, a few lines for you at 800-80810 on the open line to the West Coast. Load them up. We'll have you on the air on the top of the next hour coming up here. Jerry in Santa Rosa, you're on KGO.
Well, make that San Rafael now, Dr. Phil.
No, you're driving too, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Say, Dr. Phil, real quickly, you brought up the Pacific. I didn't know if you knew this. Some of those tree huggers, if you recall, about 4 years ago maybe, trespassed into the Pacific Grove property up in Humboldt and climbed into the trees and lived there for 3 or 4 months.
Yes.
And I don't know if you know this, but they filed suit against Pacific Lumber for assault for the Pacific Lumber people trying to remove them. And the judges up in Humboldt all had to recuse themselves. And the Supreme Court appointed San Francisco's own Quentin Kopp to hear the case.
Well, Quentin Kopp, in my opinion, has always been a very fair guy. And I want to tell you something about Quentin Kopp. He's one of the few judges who took a look at the way the so-called eco-saviors have abused the legal system to stop everybody, to put money in their pockets, to file suits everywhere. Quentin Kopp demanded that they put up a bond on one case, and it just shocked the dickens out of them. He made them put up. He made the Sierra Club, I think it was, or someone else who wanted to stop the lumbering operation, I think in San Mateo somewhere, where they were logging second growth replanted trees, and some group wanted to file a lawsuit to stop it, and of course to collect some extortion money. And Quentin Kopp said, "Fine, but you put up a bond, so if you're wrong and you harm this company, you have to pay for it." Oh, they were just shocked to death.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. He knows more when he's asleep than most of them know when they're awake.
Well, I've known Quentin Kopp for 35 years. Quentin Kopp was a BART board director when I was asked by the then governor to go fix the BART system in the early 70s. And A. Allen Post, the famous legislative analyst, asked me to do it, and I got in that thing over my head for the next 3 years, if you recall. It was headlines in the newspaper every week. And
right.
Quentin Kopp was one of the directors who really brought the hammer down on the engineers that were lying and not getting the job done. Later, he was on the Golden Gate Bridge board, and When I was called in, my son and I had to prove you could build you could build a movable barrier there, which was demonstrated, and in fact has been built elsewhere since then. No, Quentin Kopp's a super guy, and
he sure is.
I think you can count on some fairness on that issue when it comes before him, huh?
Right. Can I ask you a real quick technical question?
Well, yes.
Speaking of getting to the moon and 30 years later, why can't cell phones carry a signal in wooded areas?
In wooded areas?
Yeah, it's impossible to get a signal in wooded areas.
Well, first of all, cell phone signals are fairly weak signals. They don't travel very far. That's why it's called a cell system. You have repeaters, little cells spaced frequently along any area or densely in any city if you want the communication. Now, that signal is absorbed by buildings, structures, trees, a variety of things, and that's one of the reasons why the signal doesn't travel very far. Let's see. Yeah, he's gone. Joe in Boulder Creek, you're on KGO San Francisco.
Billy, how are you? Happy 4th.
Hey, happy 4th. You're in a lovely place. I was there a few weeks ago. I always loved Boulder Creek.
Yeah, it's so far it's still pretty good, but it was even better when I first moved there about 35, 40 years ago.
Yes.
Hey, listen, I wanted to make a statement there. That when I bought a new Mustang, a GT, and I changed the oil for the first time, so I went back to the dealer and I said, I talked to my service manager there just to make sure what oil I should use. And they gave me a synthetic blend. It's called synthetic blend.
Well, no harm done.
Yeah, no, that's what we were talking about last night.
Okay, but Joe, realize something. You can go buy so-called premium gas too. No harm done, but it doesn't do you any good. Now, do you have an owner's manual for that particular Mustang? Does it tell you you need high performance synthetic oil?
No, but I would.
Well, you don't, Joe. But the truth is, you don't. Now, they sensed that you wanted something very special for your Mustang, so they told you to buy some more expensive synthetic oil. You won't hurt anything; just cost you a little more money. But what it's
I know that.
There's no evidence that its lubrication qualities are any better than standard oil that meets all the requirements you get in service stations.
Yeah, no, I know, Billy, but I got a race car and I run nothing but 1540 in it, and it's and it's Valvoline. It's just not synthetic or anything. But I haven't had any problems.
Look, the synthetics will last longer. You don't have to change the oil as frequently.
Right.
And you should get your money's worth out of using it a little longer, a few thousand miles longer, and change the filter. That's all. Take care, Joe. Take care. KGO time now, 10:52. Hey, can you remember the dot-com bubble when it burst and what it did to your retirement portfolio? I lost about half the value. Some of it's restored since then. But, hey, if you're not watching your investments and your retirement accounts all the time, you really need somebody who's a professional to do it. And there is a nice guy. As a matter of fact, he has a mantra. It's don't invest and forget. He's written a book by that title. And his name is Pat Vitucci. He's a nice guy to have around. He's an independent financial advisor. He leads several AIG financial advisors' offices around the Bay Area. I took part on the seminar with him here a little more than a month ago. He has a tremendous staff of experts on all aspects of your finances, from taxes to estates, trusts, wills, what have you. I was really very well informed, and I think you will be too. Pat is fee-based, so he does not work on commissions. And he's not there to turn over your investments to make commissions. He has the same motivation you do. He wants your investments to grow. And he's a good guy to talk to. He'll be glad to provide a complimentary consultation for you, no obligation. And it's easy to call him. An 800 number, 1-800-472-8305. He's Pat Fitucci at 1-800-472-8305. Yes, and we're coming up on the 4th of July this weekend. There's a little music very appropriate. Our servicemen overseas listen to this program, tens of thousands of them in Iraq, Afghanistan. They listen to it on the Internet and rebroadcast it, and they always love hearing from you and a little appreciation for what they're trying to do. Kathy in Menlo Park, you're on KGO San Francisco.
Hi, Dr. Bill. You were asking about the man who had worked with Clint Eastwood on the New Growth Redwoods, and that was Frank Wells.
Frank Wells.
Yes,
you're right. He was a
friend of mine and a great loss to the whole industry.
He was a great guy. I really, really liked him. He was a friend of Clint's for many years before he became president of Disney. And something most people don't realize, after I started the campaign and alerted the world what might happen to the 6,000 acres of old growth called the Headwaters Forest, Clint and Frank Wells and others jumped in to help. They actually were on the radio, came on my program.
Oh, wonderful.
But behind the scenes, they wrote $1 million checks.
Yep.
And never crowed about it. They just wrote the checks to keep the campaign going. Yep. There was another fellow in San Mateo who was never identified who joined him and wrote a check for that amount.
It's a huge loss, and thank you so much. I just want him to be remembered.
Well, if you knew Clint and Frank Wells...
I don't know Clint. I knew Frank very well.
Well, he's just a superhuman being. You know, Frank quit his high corporate job at one time to go climb the mountains of the world.
I know.
He climbed. I believe he climbed all of the
almost all, except I think his wife said, "If you climb this one, I'm not going to be home when you get back."
I see. He tried one too many. Is that it?
Well, you know, he lived a life, and he was an amazing man.
He was. Well, I'm glad you remembered him and reminded me, because his name came right out in my mind the minute I went to a commercial break there, and I forgot to say it. Hey,
we all have that problem.
Thanks for calling, Kathy. Okay. Joan in Sonoma, you're on KGO.
You're so brilliant, Doctor. I hate to ask a trite question, but...
No such thing. I stumbled all over my place last night myself, okay?
You know, I look in one mirror and I look okay, and then I turn around and go out in another mirror and I look dreadful. I mean, to me, a mirror is a mirror. What?
Well, that's not true. Mirrors come in all different qualities, and some people don't realize that a cheap mirror, particularly one that's on your car, for instance, sometimes just with the temperature it can become distorted. And you don't quite, minor distortions, and yet it'll make you think, you look funny, and you don't realize it's the mirror. So if you see a mirror that makes you look real good and you're happy with it, use it as a reference before you believe the rest of them, huh?
Thank you very much.
All righty.
And I had something to do with Clinton Kopp, and he was absolutely marvelous. I was parked in the. I had a.
Quickly here. Quickly.
I had a car where I could park in the yellow, and I parked in the green for just 10 minutes and came out, and I had a ticket. And he said, if you can't park in the green if you have the that you can park in the yellow. He wrote me a personal letter about it. I was always so impressed that he took the time out.
Well, he's a very fair guy, and he wasn't liked by the boards he was on because he's so candid. He didn't play politics if it was something really important, and I respect him for that. And thanks for calling KGO. Though this is the end of the first hour. 2 more hours to go until 1 a.m. This is KGO, San Francisco, San Jose, Oakland, at 810 on the AM dial everywhere.
From ABC News, I'm Brad Wheelis. It won't exactly be the rocket's red glare Francis Scott Key was writing about so many years ago, but the solid rocket boosters could be glowing up in the sky Tuesday as NASA tries again to launch the Shuttle Discovery.
It would be the ultimate fireworks.
Denise Christopher is a space enthusiast. She, along with many others, are hoping for a July 4th launch. ABC's Donna Rapato has more.
Yes, the Kennedy Space Center has nearby beaches and popular theme parks, but it is the Space Shuttle Discovery's launch many people really hope to see, like a 6-year-old boy who was anxious to see the shuttle launch and return home to his friends in Jacksonville with the bragging rights.
They said no fare.
Lucky for him, his parents say they'll stick around for the rescheduled launch on Tuesday. Donna Rapato, ABC News, Cocoa Beach, Florida.
NASA has had to scrub 2 launch attempts in as many days because of weather. Tuesday's forecast looks better. Lots of folks have their telescopes out at this hour. An asteroid passing very close to Earth. And by very close, we mean 269,000 miles from Earth, a little farther than the moon. Scientists say there's no danger of an impact. If you do have a telescope, you may see a dot passing across the sky. A very tight presidential race in Mexico. In fact, so tight, election officials say they won't have a final tally until at least Wednesday. The BBC's Duncan Kennedy is in Mexico City.
It is a complete surprise. We had expected some result now. The authorities have obviously done their homework. They don't want to get this wrong. Too much is at stake for the individual candidates, and too much is at stake for Mexico itself.
The conservative candidate has served in Vicente Fox's government. His opponent is a favorite among the poor, and he's already said Mexico will not be the lackey of any foreign government. This could have major implications on U.S.-Mexican relations, which is very important now that Congress is considering immigration reform. Both candidates are claiming victory. Thousands of Mexicans living in the U.S. went to Mexico to vote. You're listening to ABC News.
Charlie Pickett here for Amdro. Now, I don't know anybody that likes ants. That's why you need to know about Amdro Ant Block. Ant Block keeps ants out of your house, and it wipes them out where they live, outside. Just sprinkle Amdro Ant Block around the foundation of your home. You see, Ant Block's a bait. Ants take it back to the colony where they share it and die, even the queen. Amdro Ant Block. Stop them on the outside before they come inside.
When my baby left for college, I took some classes of my own.
Left, right, turn.
Dance classes. That's when I started needing a pain reliever for my sore legs. Then I upgraded my computer and had to get a headache medicine, too. For every new pain, I had a different pain reliever. But now I'm all Advil. It's my every pain reliever. Advil works wherever I hurt, and nothing's proven stronger on tough pain than Advil. I'm all Advil. Are you all Advil?
Use as directed compared to OTC pain relievers.
In the age of terrorism, airline passengers take action. In this case, it appears they misjudged the situation. A 37-year-old man from Guatemala was found not guilty of interfering with a flight crew. Back on December 9th, Santiago Tizol was on a Northwest Airlines flight bound for Honolulu from Los Angeles. He didn't return to his seat when asked by a flight crew. Passengers thought they heard him say the word baby and believed he was going to strangle a 3-year-old on the plane. Turns out he was speaking Spanish. He spilled water on his clothes and went to the forward bathroom. Passengers tackled him. Tizol says he feels very satisfied. He could have faced up to 20 years in prison if convicted. Talk about your cheap labor. These guys work for free. Well, all they can eat anyway. ABC's Chuck Sievertson explains.
Officials in Logan, Utah say they've stopped using machinery or chemicals to kill non-native weeds that invade and choke off native plants. They've switched to a natural, more effective, and cheaper alternative.
Dad, we have a bug.
Beetles.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No, not that kind. Why not? They bought 2,000 beetles at $1 each. The insects attack and kill the weeds. And according to one official, they work 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, and basically for free. No word, though, why that would be a concern in a place called Cache County. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
ABC Money Scope. It will be a short day on Wall Street because of the holiday. This is ABC News.
They say the best things in life are free. So why are we paying so much for our basic information and entertainment needs? The average cable TV bill has more than doubled in the last 10 years. The price of movie tickets keeps going up. So exactly what is free today anyway? Well, you're listening to it. Local radio. Support the advertisers that support this radio station. And keep listening. We won't send you a bill. There are still some things you just shouldn't have to pay for.
Brad Wheelis, ABC News.
KGO Radio News Time, 11:05. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Denson. Here's what's happening in the Bay Area and around the state. The California Department of Forestry says emergency crews responded to several fires in Alameda County today. Chris Morgan is a fire prevention specialist with the department.
First fire came around. It was the Arroyo fire off of Arroyo Road in Livermore, 15 acres. We got that out fairly quickly. The second one was very large, Corral Hollow Road near 580. It's already been contained at about 200 plus acres. Third one was the Altamont Road, Flynn Road area, just off 580. That was a small fire. The last one was off of Grant Line Road, so it's been very busy.
All fires have been contained. Meanwhile, Morgan says a fire that burned more than 25,000 acres in Stanislaus County should be fully contained by tomorrow. And arrests for driving under the influence are up this weekend compared to the same time last year. The California Highway Patrol says 1,001 drivers have been arrested statewide since Friday. Officials say that figure represents 51 more arrests this year than over the same period last year. Let's head outside now and take a look at the roadways. We do have an accident to report. This in San Lorenzo, westbound 580 at 150th Avenue. That's a 3-car crash that's been moved off the roadway now. In Oakland, northbound 13 at Lincoln Avenue, CHP providing traffic control to remove a vehicle from the roadway. The second lane from your left is blocked. The Toyota Avalon with an EPA estimated 31 miles per gallon on the highway and all the little extras you desire. Avalon, where luxury meets fuel efficiency. Taking a look at KGO weather now for the San Francisco Bay Area for your evening. It is expected to be mostly clear with low clouds and fog moving in through the night. Low temperatures are expected to be in the mid-50s to 60s. Right now in Oakland, 57, and San Francisco checking in at 55. It's also fair. I'm Kelly Denson, KGO Radio News.
Here we go for the second hour of the open line to the West Coast over the world's greatest news talk radio station, KGO, San Francisco, 810 on the AM dial everywhere. And let me remind you, for certain tomorrow, keep the dial on 810 AM, and you'll hear some of the most interesting programming and talk show hosts you're going to find anywhere in the world. That's why the station's been a top-rated station for more than 25 years. I listen all the time, and I tell folks, you tune in to KGO and keep it in the background with the morning news and Ron Owens, noontime news, Dina Dell, Pete Wilson, Gene Burns. And you'll be taking part in the college education of the airways. You'll learn more and know more about what's happening in this world at that Friday night or Saturday night dinner party than the professors who don't have time to keep up the way you can when you listen to KGO. Joan in Sonoma, you're on KGO. Oh, we had Joan. Okay, Jim in Fremont. We're down to you here. Jim, you're on the open line to the West Coast.
Hey, Dr. Bill, thanks very much for taking my call. I really enjoy your show. But what I'm calling about is I had some dealings with the Fremont Police Department today. And it was, hello, you still there?
Sure, we're listening.
Okay, I have some dealings with the Fremont Police Department today, and it was really pretty interesting. And they're some of the most top professional people I've ever had to deal with in something like this. I had the SWAT team in my home today, trying to go through my house to deal with somebody else's house. And during the whole time the police department was there, They were interested in my safety and the safety of my animals and seeing to it that nobody got hurt. Me, them, my animals, the people in the neighborhood, and I just wanted to thank them.
Well, I think they will very much appreciate hearing that. And it's so seldom that people do take the time to thank our police officers, because every day, most of them risk their own lives in some way to make certain that others are safe before they do what they have to do.
Well, they deal with some of the worst types of people in the world on a day-to-day basis.
You know something?
And they're never thanked for it.
They're seldom thanked. It's only when one of them purportedly does something wrong that you hear it mentioned in the newspapers. Yeah. But when did you see a headline story in the Chronicle or the L.A. Times or the New York Times or any paper that said Officer George Smith did his job today, stepped through 2 doors in hostile family fights where there could have been a killer on the other side, stopped 12 cars when any one of them could have shot him, and went home to his family, safe and sound first. You know, when do you ever see a story like that?
Safe and sound, his family.
Huh?
You know, many cases every day. It's fortunate that these officers go home to their families.
It is, and they do things, as I've said, you could not pay me. You couldn't pay me any amount of money to do what police officers out on the beat have to do every day.
The way people talk to these officers sometimes.
Oh, hey.
If somebody ever talked to me like that, I'd punch him between the eyes.
I'd be up for discipline about once every hour when some jerk spit in my face or called me one of his favorite names. So, hey, well, look, I really appreciate you giving a pat on the back for doing a good job, and thank you.
They were truly professional officers.
Well,
today,
you know, I'll take calls any time. Giving the police department, police officers a little of the praise they deserve. Thanks again for calling KGO, Jim.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye. Tim in Concord, you're on KGO.
Yes, thank you for taking the call. 2 questions. One regard having to do with the BART system. As a commuter, I'm just curious, what is this flash of light that I occasionally see in certain spots in the track? And then the second question, there's an area in the Concord yard where the track junctions off into the yard off the main line. And what enables the train to stay on the track at such a high speed, you know, as it makes that turn, I guess, around that area?
Well, wait a minute now. Is this a turn in the regular track? I mean, the train's proceeding on to Pittsburgh from there?
That's correct, right.
Well, you'll find if there's a turn the train takes at high speed, you'll find that it's banked or slanted.
Okay.
So the train, the force on the tracks is perpendicular to the plane of the tracks. That's what keeps the train on the tracks.
Oh.
Same thing on highways. You'll notice in sharp turns or in a speedway, the surface is banked at an angle to account for the speed in the turn that you're on.
Okay.
Now, as far as the flashing light, I don't know. Look, I spent 3 years getting the BART system running and fixed. And I'll tell you, when I walked away from that, I said, I don't ever want to hear about it again. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to talk about it. And so, frankly, I haven't paid much attention.
Oh, okay. I've heard somebody mention a term like a flashover, and I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Well, now, are you talking about something you notice under the wheels of a train going by?
That would be, that sounds right.
Oh, well, sure, there's a big electrical connection there.
Oh.
And there may be a flashover or some sparks at times. There was a time when the motors were blowing up routinely. They made a lot of sparks.
Oh.
And I warned them before it started, and they finally found out and had to replace them all.
Oh, all right.
But
okay,
there are other people who can tell you a lot about BART. I'm not one of them anymore.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for calling. And we have lines open here on the open line to the West Coast. Suddenly giving everyone a shot at the radio voice of the West here. Here's your turn to talk to millions over the most listened to program and radio station. And the topic, it's up to you. Whatever you think is the most important. Usually becomes more interesting than any monologue I can give you. And if you have a puzzle, a problem, something you've always been curious about, hey, you pose the question here on the open line to the West Coast. And we'll have clever people and experts and professionals from all over the country calling in to give us both an education, and that's what it's all about. We learn something. Tom in Budapest. You're on KGO. Are you listening to us on the Internet again, Tom?
Yeah, Bill, I am. How you doing?
Fine. We heard from you 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Yeah, I've become a regular. I'm trying to get to the point where you say, well, we've got one of my favorite callers calling in.
Well, you are. You are. That's why I said, here's
like
Tom.
Chris in Napa. Hey, Bill, you had been talking with a previous caller about that gentleman that quit his corporate job to go climb the mountains of the world.
Yes.
For those that are interested, I happened to pick up that book several months ago, and it's a very good inspirational read. It's simply called Seven Summits.
Yes, by Frank Wells.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Seven Summits.
It's a fantastic read. I'd recommend it for anyone. Hey, Bill, on another matter, if I could ask you. This morning I woke up, I was poking around the Internet, and I came across the story that probably most of your readers have heard about. It's the practice of taking Mentos candy and putting it in.
Yeah, don't mention that, Tom. Don't say it. I mean, it's suggestive, right. And there are thousands that go out and try it, and it can be dangerous. Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had ever talked about it.
I have seen it. Tom, there's a zillion things you can do to create a rapid generation of gas to blow sodas out and lots of things, and they can be dangerous.
Right.
And I just don't want to tell them how to do it. It's circulating on the Internet again.
Yeah, I could understand. Hey, Bill, are you a chess player?
No, it's something I never learned. I grew up in a bunkhouse and out in the logging woods and construction jobs and ranches, and that really isn't chess country.
I thought with a mind like yours that it's something that you would play. But,
well, I was always jealous. I'm still jealous of those who do play, and they play so well. I'm embarrassed. I tried it a few times when I first went to Berkeley, and I got cleaned out quick and I sort of backed off.
Yeah, I play my father quite a bit, and he's a good player, but he takes 10 minutes to make a move, so it's not that enjoyable.
And do you play over the Internet with him?
Yeah, I do now and then. That kind of brings me to another thing. If I could just tell you a little story.
It's your nickel all the way from Budapest, Hungary, but
Bill,
quickly.
Believe it or not, it's very, very inexpensive.
I know
the way that I call you over the Internet. But anyway, this talking about playing chess and one of the benefits of that. There's a show on ABC every night. I don't know if it's still on. It's called Nightline with Ted Koppel. And several years ago, I was watching an episode of Nightline where they did a study on the nuns of Notre Dame, and the nuns of Notre Dame had donated, their bodies to science, and they did a study on the brains of these nuns, and the interest of this study was that they had these nuns over a very long period of time had a very, very low occurrence of Alzheimer's. So they were trying to figure out, why there was such a low occurrence of Alzheimer's.
Okay, we'll get to the bottom line here. We're running way over time.
Bottom line is this. What they think is that with constant brain activity, because these nuns were always diligent in reading and learning,
yes,
et cetera, and they kept their brains active.
Yes.
And by such activity, they think that has an impact on diminishing the risk of
I've read some speculation on that score in the journals, and very interesting. Hey, thanks for calling, Tom. I want to hear from you again.
Bill.
KGO time now, 11:18. Some of the great advice that many have heard from Pat Bertucci, and you could hear the same. He's available for a complimentary consultation anytime, no obligation. His mantra is, don't invest and forget, and he's written a book by the same title, very interesting. You can call Pat for that complimentary consultation anytime at 1-800-472-8305. He's Pat Bertucci at 1-800-472-8305. Matter of fact, you're going to hear a lot of great good country western music in all the Grange halls around the country on this 4th of July. One of the favorite ones was the one I sort of grew up in when I was a kid over in Taylorsville, California, a little town that becomes almost 5,000 people on 4th of July rodeo time. And all those folks in the Grange hall on the 3rd and the 4th. Well, right now, you're on KGO, San Francisco, the open line to the West Coast, the most listened to program and radio station. And we have lines open for you here on the switchboard. Loaded up. We'll have you on the air this hour. Your number, 8080810. Mike in Reading, you're on KGO.
Hi, Dr. Wattenberg. Question for you. I want to build a pond on my property. It's going to be about a half acre in size.
Okay.
And I need to know what type of material to put in the bottom of it to keep a lot of the water from seeping into the ground.
Well, the best material you can put on the bottom actually is not just dirt, it's plastic, and they make plastic liners. And a very good idea, if you really want to make really conserve water, is to put down some clay, if you have it. And you have a lot of it in your area in Reading, I can tell you that. Red stuff?
Yes, sir.
You know, put down some clay. Get it compacted well, then put down the fabric. You can find any construction company or building supply can tell you about it. The same fabric that they use under asphalt nowadays, you know. And anyway, you line it with that fabric and then put another layer of clay over that. Then you really seal it well. That's what they do with toxic waste ponds now, for instance, where you don't want any leakage at all. And many dump sites, you know, where they have dumps. They don't want the bad stuff going into the ground. So, hey, sorry to lose you there on the phone, Mike, but I hope we gave you a hand. John in Stockton, you're on KGO.
Thank you for taking my call, Dr. Bill.
Sure.
I was going to say, for the average consumer, it might be good now if the IRS gave us a tax credit on, you know, after you have your adjustable income figured out, you go to the second page and they have the different credits, dollar-for-dollar credits against tax owed. And my suggestion would be at this point, for every dollar you spend at the pump, at the gas pumps, or even on your electric bill, let that be a credit, because apparently the oil companies and the government are, you know, it's become a windfall for them, really. But for the average person, it's becoming quite painful to need to get to their jobs and so on.
Well, I agree with
the income they make, you know.
Well, it's not a bad idea. The problem is managing it. How do you verify that someone bought $2,000 worth of gas versus the other guy only buys $200? But I guess you've saved your receipts, and you could really prove it. You find that if you use your credit card on gas pumps, You're going in the right direction for the following reason. The people who are hurt the most are working families. You've heard me go after the frauds in the gasoline business for the last 15 years. You remember the MTBE poison that was dumped in your gasoline and you were forced to pay another 20 cents a gallon for it in California?
Yeah.
That much hurt working families. They paid out more to be poisoned, courtesy of your public bureaucrats in California, California Air Resources Board. They were forced to pay more money than they could save for their kids for college. And now, with this extra $1 a gallon, it's 5 times as bad. And it hurts the working people. It hurts the middle-income, low-income working people more than any. So, hey, I'm with you on that one. If it could be managed, I think it'd be appropriate.
I don't know who would propose it. I'm thinking even Nancy Pelosi might be a good person.
What's the matter with you Democrats in Congress who claim that they represent and protect the common working people? Huh? How come they're not up on a chair doing something like this, huh?
I agree with you 100%. I don't understand why they won't step forward for the people that are actually carrying the lion's share of the burden of.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because generally they want people taxed more rather than less. So. Hey, take care, and thanks for calling, John. Bye-bye. KGO time now, 11:26. Indeed, the 4th of July coming up this week. Frank in Alameda, you're on KGO.
Good evening, Dr. Bill. I like the music you're playing, by the way.
Well, I do too. What's on your mind?
Well, for years I taught chemistry class, so I finally retired, and I felt it was all right for me to tell my students how to do certain things, and caution them too. But when some caller from Hungary said, mentioned this Mentos thing, and I said, I didn't know much about it, but then David Letterman demonstrated it on TV about 2 days ago.
I know.
Okay,
and it's fine, but look, if you're a chemist, you taught chemistry, you know what can be done with anything that generates a lot of gas very quickly.
That's the problem.
If it's capped, it'll blow the cap off. If it's put in another vessel, it'll blow the vessel and somebody can get hurt.
Well, especially if it's in something glass,
Yes.
That'd be deadly. Yeah.
That's why I don't discuss it.
Okay. So I was just curious, but he did show it on TV.
Well, some of them do it. They think they go for anything spectacular without thinking about the consequences on... There'll be 10,000 kids get hurt somewhere around the country trying.
Go ahead and Well, I really appreciate your explaining. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks a lot for calling.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Here's Kelly Denson with a KGO News Update.
Thank you, Dr. Bill. This is an update from the KGO Radio Newsroom. Officials say it will be at least Wednesday before anyone knows who the next president of Mexico will be. Anti-poverty campaigner Andrés López Obrador and the conservative ruling party candidate Felipe Calderón are locked in a neck-and-neck battle. If at first you don't succeed, try again. That's what NASA will do on Tuesday as it tries to launch Space Shuttle Discovery for the third time. Saturday and Sunday launches were scrubbed due to bad weather conditions. And the president of Venezuela is calling on Europe and the U.S. to apologize to Africa for slavery. In a summit of African leaders in Gambia, Hugo Chavez said Africa and Latin America have suffered from slavery and colonialism for centuries. Let's head outside now and take a look at the roadways. If you're heading into San Francisco, westbound 80 at the toll plaza, the lights are off, no delays. Golden Gate Bridge, traffic moving at the speed limit there in both directions. Let the rewards fly. Get reward dollars towards Southwest round-trip flights with your everyday purchases. Go to southwest.com/visa to apply today. Credit cards owned and issued by Chase Bank USA, N.A., subject to credit approval. Taking a look at KGO weather now for the San Francisco Bay Area for your evening. It'll be mostly clear with low clouds and fog moving in through the night. Low temperatures are expected to be in the mid-50s to 60s. Right now in San Francisco, 54 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Kelly Denson, KGO Radio News.
The Sea Crane Company in Fortuna, California, has a new advance in lighting technology. It's called the CC Vivid LED light bulb, and it's truly amazing. It'll reduce your energy consumption and save you a lot of money. The CC Vivid is designed to replace the inefficient incandescent bulbs you're currently using for accent lights, porch lights, reading lamps, things that stay on a long time. These new LED bulbs use only 2 watts of electricity. Keep in mind, 2 watts, not 60. Which means it'll cost you just 80 cents per year if you leave this light bulb on for 12 hours a day. Up to $30 a year if you leave it on an incandescent bulb for that length of time. And think of this. If everyone in the United States replaced even one bulb in their home with one of these LED bulbs, we could shut down the largest power plant in the United States, 1,000-megawatt plant somewhere and more. You can do your part to conserve energy by switching to at least one CC Vivid LED bulb. They're only $34.95, shipping included. Pay for themselves in a year. Last darn almost forever. Give the Sea Crane Company a call tomorrow at 800-522-8863. That number again, for the CC Vivid LED light bulb, or for a free copy of their catalog worth reading in its own right, 800-522-8863. Or you can look them up on the web and see their hundreds of amazing products at ccradio.com. The Sea Crane Company. Discover something new today. Well, 24 minutes to go to the second hour of the open lines of the West Coast, and then comes up the third hot and heavy one, but no better time than right now. We've got another half a dozen or more of you. And your number into the switchboard, lines open in all areas, 8080810. If you're outside the immediate Bay Area, and as you heard tonight, we have calls from all over the West Coast and around the world. Dial one of the Bay Area codes, 415-510-707-408 or 650, and then that magic number, 8080810. I'm sure you've got something you want to share with millions out there listening to this, the most listened to program and radio station. Neil in Benicia, you're on KGO.
Hi, Dr. Bill. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Sure.
One thing before I ask the question is I wish that you were on Monday through Friday. You give an intelligent response to most questions and issues.
Well, sometimes, but look, I'll ask and ye shall receive. Just reminded me, I should have mentioned, I'll be back this coming Thursday, Friday night, 7 to 10 in the evening, and during the Gene Burns Show. So that'll give you a chance right there. 7 to 10, Thursday, Friday, the 6th and 7th of July, I believe, yes.
Well, that's great, but I wish you were on the 10 to 1 p.m. Anyway.
Well, I'll tell you, hey, 6 hours of this program a week is like climbing out of a fighter jet, you know. I mean, it's a go-around. So.
I hear you. My question, sir, is when a credit card cannot be read when it's passed through a machine, a credit card reading machine, sometimes if you put it in a plastic bag, grocery bag, or actually even put a piece of Scotch tape over the magnetic strip, it is then able to be read by the machine. And I was just curious to know if there's anyone who could answer why.
You know, I've heard this has come up many, many times. I've seen it myself. I've been curious. I've never done the experiments to find out why. I've heard as many different explanations as there have probably been times it's been done. There's some things you want to keep into account. One, plastic tape or Scotch tape are insulators, so but that doesn't really change the static charge. It can change the electric field that the sensing equipment is seeing. And it also guarantees a little space between the reading head and then the magnetic stripe on your card, which can change the quality of the signal that it reads. Now, beyond that, I don't know which one it is. I really don't.
Well, I appreciate it.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, I remember this came up before, and our producer, Jay, remembers a lot more about this than I do. Jay, what's the answer here?
Howdy, Bill. you're on very much on the right track with what I've been reading, and I do keep my eye on the physics bulletin boards about this one because it is a frequent question, and Neil, you're not the first one to ask it, as Dr. Bill mentioned. Listen, what we do know, and what is fairly evident, is that by putting the card in a plastic bag or by putting tape on the back of that magnetic strip, you're going to decrease the amount of magnetic signal that goes from the card to the reader, right? Because you're going to make the signal, you're going to put something in between the card and the reader. Mm-hmm. And the only conceivable way that would work is if there's something in the card that's interfering with the signal that's supposed to, the numbers and the data that's supposed to get off the card. So what the consensus is that some amount of, magnetic interference or whatever, maybe some scratches on that magnetic surface have caused some interference. When you run that card across the reader, you have some interference now on your card. Now, I'm going to give you a solution in a minute that's even better. But listen, by putting that space, that bag in between, that plastic bag in between the magnetic strip and the reader, you're reducing that interference as well as the data. Now, the data's encoded in there. Go ahead.
JJ,
yes,
I got to interrupt you here right now. That's good speculation, but did you read anywhere where anybody really did an experiment to prove that? Because,
absolutely. I'm looking now at a University of Buffalo bulletin board where the physics department has worked on this. Now, they're dealing with a difficult situation that you're well aware of, Dr. Bill, with the BART stuff that you worked on. There's a lot of secret stuff that goes on in those credit cards.
Yeah.
So the experiments that they're able to do can't be definitive because you're working with technology that people aren't supposed to know about.
Oh, no, wait a minute, Jay. Wait a minute. Did they tell you that in this bulletin board?
Well, they're talking about some technical stuff that I don't want to get rid of because people cloud over.
I have to fill you in here. Mm-hmm. I was the guy who first beat the magnetic stripes on BART and on your credit cards. You can read about it. You can read about it in Business Week in the early 70s. There's nothing that's secretive about what's in this equipment or the coding. It's just the difficulty of beating the coding. But people who did some real experiments here shouldn't have been encumbered in any way answering this question we're talking about.
So they're able to read all the data that's on the card. They would be able to get an actual data reading of what's on the card.
Well, look, you see, the point is, any data on that card is embedded in the magnetic field. Okay, mm-hmm. And as you read that card, you get a signal, and you store it. The total information is there on any reader that you use. It's a question of how do you decode that information.
I see.
That's fine, but when you're just looking at the quality of the signals, what we're talking about, doesn't make any difference how they encode it there.
Well, without getting too deep into it, and we're getting a little long here, but listen, here's the simple solution. These days, they can send you a new card in a week. If you're having problems with your card, ask for a new card.
Yeah.
That's my solution.
That still doesn't intellectually give us an answer to this speculation. But, hey, I do generally buy what you're saying. That's what I mentioned when I said that you're putting a spacer that will decrease the magnetic field signal that the circuitry is reading. But how does that help? That's still to be proven. Okay?
Well, the theory is that the interference, those scratches, are not as strong of a signal as the data that's on the card, and so by reducing the strength of both of them, you're getting more of what you're supposed to get and less of that interference. That's what I'm reading on the bulletin
That's
board.
A good speculation, but again, that's called signal-to-noise ratio, you see, and that doesn't change just by putting some space between the two. So anyway, we're going around, but hey, we've passed up Neil here, and anyway,
I appreciate the information, Jay and Bill. You've given me some insight on it. One quick last request, Bill. Could you possibly recite that poem about the soldiers, the responsibility of the politicians? I forget what the name of the poem.
Well, I don't remember the poem, but I do remember the substance of it, and it simply said that our freedoms as we know them in this country, the freedom of speech, of assembly, of religion and so forth, these freedoms were not won by politicians. They were not won by lawyers. They were not won by courts. These freedoms were won by soldiers who were willing to risk their lives to gain those freedoms for us.
Exactly, and if you wouldn't mind repeating that poem at some point, I would love to hear it.
If I can find it again, I'll read it for you. But the zinger line is there that the freedom to burn our flag was won by soldiers who were willing to sacrifice their lives for that flag.
I agree with you 100%.
And they're listening, and I'm sure they appreciate it. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
And Jay, hey, thanks for that background information there.
Maybe we'll find out the truth one of these days.
I keep swearing I'm going to go to the lab and do some experiments, and it's such a low priority.
It's true.
Problem.
Well, if you ever get up there, invite me along. I'd be curious to hear what the real answer is.
I will. Go back to the Business Week article where you see the fun I had when they thought they had a foolproof system.
It's all in your kitchen, right, Vic, Dr.
Well, yeah, I found a way to do it in your kitchen, and in fact, it was funny because I showed it to a San Francisco Chronicle reporter named Mike Harris, great reporter in those days, and he did it himself. He went to a BART station and he boosted a 10-cent ticket to $20. See? And then he presented it to the BART officials and the IBM officials over at the San Francisco Chronicle in the editorial room. They were shocked. See? So it upset things for a while. Right?
Not the first time you've done that, Dr.
Thanks for the help there, Jay.
My pleasure.
KGO time now, 11:45. Say, about 9 years ago, I had a home in the Central Valley. It's hot in the summer, cold in the winter. And I made a very big investment, a good investment. I replaced all the old single-pane windows with top-of-the-line dual-pane windows and doors. $7,800 investment. Big improvement in the appraised value of that home, big reduction in energy bills. But then about 3 years later, I discovered a company called newpane.com, N-E-W-P-A-N-E, like window pane. I logged on to newpane.com and put in the specifications of the job I'd already had done, and I got back a quote from newpane.com to install the same windows, $1,300 less. And a lot of folks have discovered the same thing. They supply all the top-of-the-line windows with the same or better guarantees as anyone else. And you can log on to newpane.com, put right there on the tube, put in the dimensions of the windows in your home, measure them approximate, or, as I did, take the specs off of someone else's quotation, and for every combination you want to look at, you'll get a full quotation for a full installation, not a nickel more. And you won't hear from them. They won't bother. You can sit there and look at 100 combinations if you want. As a matter of fact, anyone selling you dual pane windows and doors ought to have a website where you can do that, and you know they're for real. If you can't log on to newpane.com, you can call them. They have an office in the Woodland-Dixon area. And an 800 number, toll-free number, 800-614-7263. Their friendly staff will help you whether it's one window or 100. 800-614-7263 for newpane.com. of course, the 4th of July coming up here in 2 days, and our troops overseas. Love to hear from you and a little of your appreciation for what they're doing. Hey, Terry in San Francisco, you're on KGO.
Hi, Bill. For anyone who's ever heard of plane crash, I heard over 20 years ago in Cerritos, California, Southern California, there was like an Air Mexico jet collide with a private plane. And I don't know the altitude, though, but it was loud and probably heard by hundreds of thousands of people. Probably 100 miles.
Wait a minute. You were there and you heard the crash?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And it was the loudest noise I've ever heard.
Well, I would imagine. Did they both explode in midair?
Yes.
Oh,
and
tragic.
About a week ago, there was two military planes crashed about 100 miles from here, but it didn't travel this far, and I was wondering, are they making planes lighter today? Is the material in military aircraft different than
No, that isn't the big factor at all. A crash 100 miles away, it's quite seldom that the sound pressure wave is going to travel that far without being dissipated in the air. And I doubt the one that you mentioned, other than, there's some conditions where it could travel 100 miles. How far away were you?
About 3 miles.
Well, that's much closer, but when you get out to 50 or 100 miles, there's very little of the pressure wave left that we call sound. See, and that's all it amounts to. It dissipates very rapidly with distance. So. Okay?
All right.
Hey, thanks for calling, Terry. Roger in Livermore, you're on KGO San Francisco.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Bill. Thanks for taking the call.
Sure.
Question. On several news briefs, we've heard that, the space shuttle hasn't gone up and what have you, that they have a contingency plan for the astronauts. If it does get damaged and lift off for one reason or another, they can send another shuttle up. What's going to happen to the shuttle if it does get damaged? Do they leave it in space? Would they send it towards the sun or back in the atmosphere and burn up?
I think that's the last thing they'll worry about. If in fact you have to go rescue astronauts. But in fact, I think they can, with the boost power on the shuttle, use it to move out to a much bigger orbit. Essentially get it away from where it's a problem. Maybe boost it into space. I don't know. I mean, away from the Earth's gravitational field.
So
remember, the shuttle has enough fuel to do a lot of maneuvering. And of course, return to Earth normally. That thrust energy, if it were set out, if it were out there without its crew, those thrusters could be used to do a lot of things.
But the shuttle itself would be strong enough to get it out of the orbit of Earth?
Well, where it is, normally it's in an orbit around Earth.
Yeah.
And strength there's no problem with the strength once you're up there. You're essentially in a zero gravity field. I mean, a zero force field. The strength of the shuttle won't be the limiting factor. It'll be how much fuel it has on board.
Well, that's what I mean. It would have enough fuel to get rid of it.
If you meant by strength, you meant it has enough fuel.
Yeah, fuel. That's what I meant.
I don't know how much it has, but it certainly has some and enough to maneuver it around and put it in different orbits. Whether you could get it out of the Earth's gravitational field, I don't know.
Yeah.
So good point, though.
Another satellite up there you can watch at nighttime.
Well, hey, there are thousands and thousands of dangerous objects up there in orbit that are being watched all the time.
Yeah.
And you're much better off to have a big one that is readily seen than little ones the size of BBs penetrating your spacecraft. You know? So, hey, take care and thanks for calling.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye now. Bob in San Jose, you're on KGO.
Hey, Dr. Bill?
Yes.
Yeah, I was hiking the other day south of Lake Tahoe, and I sat down on a rock and was eating an orange, and I heard this snoring around me. I stood up, and this brown bear stood up behind a bush next to me.
Mm-hmm.
My dog chased him away instantly, but how much danger was I in?
Well, I'll tell you, if that brown bear had been a mama, and you were sitting between her and her cubs, you would have been in a lot of danger. A lot of danger.
I think I could hear the cubs after she chased away. I could hear the cubs in the background.
If the cubs were away from you, it's okay. She'll go protect the cubs.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll tell you, one of the most dangerous things and frightening things you'll ever run into, and it only happened to me once out in the woods, is just suddenly find yourself between a mama bear and her cubs.
Oh,
and
yeah?
And you'll know a freight train's coming your way. And and no dog is going to scare her away, by the way, then. So anytime you're around bears, look quickly to see where her cubs might be, and if she's a mama bear, and get the hell away from those cubs, because that's one of the most common reasons for a bear to attack. Okay? Now, your food is the next one if they're camp bears, or garbage bears, or.
No, this wasn't. This is way in the middle of nowhere.
Well, then.
It was snow there. It was up to snow level recently.
Mm-hmm. Well, all I can tell you is they're not anything to fool with. All right.
Okay. Thanks for the info.
Hey, you did the right thing, but next time you see that bear, take a look and see where the cubs are. Huh?
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Hey, take care. Bruce in Prunedale, you're on KGO San Francisco.
Hey, Bill.
What's on your mind, Bruce?
Well, I just got off the plane from Europe.
You did?
Yeah, I did about 15 hours in coach, so I'm not real bright right now.
You're a little stiff also from sitting for so long.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of a bigger guy, so it's like 15 hours of misery for me.
What flight did you take? From where'd you come from and where'd you land here?
Well, we went through Miami this time. I go every year because I'm married to a Spanish woman, and we have a large family over there. But we went through Miami this time, Miami to Madrid. Normally we go through London, which I prefer better.
Uh-huh.
But I just wanted to let you know that American cars are alive and well in Europe. I think Ford, if I'm not mistaken, is the number 3 selling car in Europe, especially in Spain.
You know why it's so funny? You see people over here that won't look at an American car that has to, in other words, to be politically correct, they have to buy a foreign car. That's the middle income people. I'll tell you, the wealthy and high society ones are all buying American cars now again. But it's always been funny to me, as I've told you over the years. My friends in Germany will wait 8-10 months to buy an American car over there. And many of them are work for the foreign manufacturers, but for the money, they know the quality that they're getting for half the price.
Well, you've got that exchange rate right now. It's almost $1.30. It's $1.28 right now.
Yeah, I know.
And right now, Chevy is coming on strong. They're building dealerships everywhere.
Yes.
My father-in-law over there has a medium-sized construction company, and they have Ford trucks. They're just wonderful vehicles, all diesel. And he's got some Opals, too, which is a GM product. But I just want to say also the fuel. Most of the cars are diesel.
Yes.
So we go every summer. I go every summer. And last summer, this time, gasoline was about 88 cents. We're talking euro cents.
Yeah.
This year it's $1. So
wait a minute. You mean per liter?
Per liter.
Right. Almost 4 times that per gallon.
Right. So what I'm saying is they've gone up about 10% in the same time period we've gone up over 30.
Well, keep in mind though, in Europe they have very high taxes on gasoline, so a change in the base cost of the gasoline isn't the biggest factor in the price in Europe. The base cost is the biggest factor here, see?
Right.
We only have about a quarter of the taxes that they do. Hey, well, nice to hear from you, and thanks to give us a little...
one more little thing.
I'm run out of time here right now, but I want to talk to you again sometime, and I'm glad you brought up the fact American cars are not frowned upon in Europe. I'll be back for another full hour here now after the midnight news, the hot and heavy ones. Stay with me. Come along, get a line. This is KGO, San Francisco, San Jose, Oakland, at 810 on the AM dial everywhere.
From ABC News, I'm Brad Wheelis. A big issue in the United States is playing out in Mexican politics. Each of the 2 presidential candidates is declaring victory in Sunday's election, but election officials say it's too close to call, and a final tally won't come until at least Wednesday. ABC's John Quinones is in Mexico City.
The big issue is immigration, and the other one, of course, drug trafficking along the border. Both candidates have vowed to work with the Bush administration in trying to come to an amicable solution to these problems.
Although Andrés Obrador says Mexico will not be a lackey for any foreign government, his opponent, Felipe Calderón, has served in Vicente Fox's administration. This could be a record turnout for an election in Mexico. Many expatriates living in the U.S. boarded buses and headed for the border to vote. NASA will try again tomorrow to get the Space Shuttle Discovery off the ground. Yesterday's launch was scrubbed because of bad weather. Tuesday's forecast looks somewhat better, although there is rain in the forecast. Increased tension in the Middle East, if that's even possible. Ambulances on the scene in Gaza this morning after Israeli helicopter gunships opened fire. And now Palestinian militant groups that abducted an Israeli soldier have set a deadline this evening for Israel to release Palestinian prisoners. The groups did not lay out specific consequences. The hunt is on for suspects in Iraq. The government is out with a most wanted list. ABC's Barbara Britt in Washington.
Saddam Hussein's relatives take up several spots on the Iraqi government's most wanted list, including his first wife and eldest daughter. Also on the list is the new al-Qaeda leader in Iraq at number 30. But number 1 on the most wanted list is Saddam's former top lieutenant, Izzat Ibrahim al-Dori, now an alleged key organizer of the Iraqi insurgency.
A U.S. soldier is dead after a helicopter crash in southern Afghanistan. The cause of the crash isn't known, but enemy fire is not suspected. You're listening to ABC News.
Criminal justice is one of America's fastest-growing career fields. With new jobs emerging in the private investigation and security fields, now is a good time for you to develop your skills. At the ITT Tech School of Criminal Justice, they teach you the fundamentals of the criminal justice system. With a degree in criminal justice, you can pursue exciting entry-level opportunities involving private investigations, workplace security, and insurance investigations. Write down this number, 1-800-851-4499. Find out how you can obtain an education that you can use to develop skills for a career in this fast-growing field. Classes meet just a few days a week, and financial aid is available for those who qualify. Call 1-800-851-4499 for a brochure on the ITT Technical Institute School of Criminal Justice. Call now. 1-800-851-4499. 1-800-851-4499.
This program is not offered at every campus. Check the ITT Tech for a list of programs offered.
Film critic Roger Ebert recovering from surgery in Chicago. The 64-year-old is in serious but stable condition. ABC's Dave Alpert has details.
It was emergency surgery, the result of complications from an operation last month. Ebert underwent surgery June 16th to remove a cancerous growth on his salivary gland. Saturday night, a blood vessel burst near the site of that earlier surgery.
His wife says doctors told her Ebert is doing well following the operation. It could be the one time the House doesn't win. New Jersey lawmakers failed to pass a budget, and there won't be anybody working at the state agency overseeing the casinos in Atlantic City, so they've been ordered shut Wednesday. ABC's Daniela Bellata reports.
Slot machines could be silenced in Atlantic City casinos at 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. The head of the Casino Control Commission ordering them to close their doors the day after the July 4th holiday if New Jersey fails to adopt a new budget by then. Governor John Corzine saying Sunday there is, quote, no immediate prospect of a budget. State parks, beaches, and historic sites are also expected to shut down Wednesday. If the 12 Atlantic City casinos shut down, the state would lose an estimated $2 million in tax revenue each day. Daniela Bellata, ABC News.
Thousands of athletes are gathered in Anchorage, Alaska for the 26th National Veterans Wheelchair Games, which kick off today. They'll compete in 16 events from table tennis to quad rugby. This is ABC News.
With nerves of steel, with incomparable courage, the men and women of the United States Armed Forces go forth. And wherever and whenever they go, the USO will be there. Until every brow is soothed and every hand is held. Until every battle's won and every song is sung. Until everyone comes home. Find out more about the USO and how you can help at USO.org.
I'm Brad Wheelis, ABC News.
KGO Radio News Time, 12:05. Good morning. I'm Kim McAllister. Here's the latest in the Bay Area and the state. An accident this afternoon involving 2 cars and a San Mateo County Transit District bus sent 10 people with injuries ranging from minor to serious at various hospitals. Crash happened near Mission Drive and El Camino Real at about 4:30 p.m., and no one has been arrested in connection with that crash. The Alameda County Fire Department responding to a brush fire near Interstate 580 and the Altamont Pass in unincorporated Alameda County near Livermore. That fire about 10 acres in size. California Department of Forestry says emergency crews have responded to several fires in the Alameda County area Sunday. Chris Morgan is a fire prevention specialist with the department.
First fire came around. It was the Arroyo fire off of Arroyo Road in Livermore, 15 acres. We got that out fairly quickly. The second one was very large, Corral Hollow Road near 580. It's already been contained at about 200 plus acres. Third one was the Altamont Road, Flynn Road area, just off 580. That was a small fire. The last one was off of Grantline Road. So it's been very busy.
All the fires there have been contained. Let's go to the roads. Check your traffic around the Bay Area. Have reports of an accident north 101 at the Golden Gate Bridge Toll Plaza. It's unclear if any lanes are blocked there. West 4, right before Willow Pass Road. Reports of debris in the roadway. And East 80 just after Treasure Island, a broken down car reported in the left lane. KGO traffic brought to you by your Bay Area Mercedes-Benz dealers. The summer event is back. Through July 31st, get special lease and financing offers from Mercedes-Benz on select C, E, and M-Class models. Visit your Bay Area Mercedes-Benz dealer or BayAreaMercedes.com. Value unlike any other. KGO weather forecast. It's mostly cloudy skies during the overnight hours. Currently San Francisco at 54 degrees. Sunshine for tomorrow. I'm Kim McAllister, KGO Radio News.
Now we welcome a new broadcast day over station KGO San Francisco, 810 on the AM dial, everywhere up and down the Pacific coast of this North American continent and around the world on the Internet. This is the new day, the 3rd day of July 2006. And I'm Bill Wattenberg, your host for the 3rd and final hour of the Open Line to the West Coast. I'll be back next Saturday, Sunday, of course, 10 p.m. to 1 as always. As a matter of fact, a few days early this week, I'll be back on KGO here next Thursday and Friday, the 6th and 7th of July, from 7 to 10 on the Gene Burns Show. Be sure to come along and join in there, but hey, no better time than right now. I need another 20 of you this hour. Always do. And we find you. You're out there. But your number, 8080-810. Yeah, I bet you got a little good cheer out there for this great 4th of July weekend, or anything else that happens to be on your mind. Claudia in Larkspur, you're on KGO.
Hi, Dr. Bill. Happy 4th.
Hey, happy 4th of July to you, too.
Thank you. I moved from Sausalito up here to Larkspur, and there are deer around.
Well, they're all over everywhere, yes.
True. And what about getting between a deer mother, the mother, and her? She has 2 little ones.
Yes.
I mean, the little ones are very little.
Yeah, you very, very seldom ever see any aggression out of deer. As a matter of fact, a mama deer, will try to hide her fawns, leave them, and run away quite often to detract you, get you to go after her to protect the fawns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, quite a different story when you deal with a bear, though.
Right.
Mama bear doesn't trust anybody when it comes to her cubs.
I know that from Yosemite. It destroyed one of my friend's car when we were in Yosemite. And lo and behold.
They sure can in a hurry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when I was a kid, I spent several years in a cabin on a mountaintop, not far from where I broadcast to you now. Mm-hmm. And we had a favorite way to store food that was sort of bear-proof. You remember the 1-gallon pickle jars?
I do.
Yeah, well, those are strong enough that we could put cornmeal and sugar and flour and a variety of things in those with a good tight lid. And you know, it was amazing. I thought a bear would just slap one and break them, but they're really, really very strong. And we'd come back quite often and find a bear had slapped that glass jar all over the cabin, rolled it around, mashed it against the walls, couldn't break it, and finally gave up, and went on her way. So, if they want food, they'll find a way to break in to get it. So
now, are we talking about the deer, or I know the bear will attack.
Well, I'm talking about a bear. Yes, deer won't do that.
Mm-hmm. Deer, they just kind of they're here all around, and
I'm telling you, you seldom have to worry about a mama deer, a doe. Once in a while, you get a buck, a male, during rutting season, and you get in their way. They can be mean, but a mama deer is not going to give you any trouble. If you see her fawns, and she's at all worried
behind her. They're like 10.
That's because they're pretty. That's because they're quite tame around cities. Out in the forest, if you were close to her, she'd have the fawns put away somewhere, and she'd be trying to attract you to get away from them. So.
I see.
All right, take care, and thanks for calling.
Have a great holiday.
You too, Claudia. Thank you for calling KGO.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Raymond, up in the great state of Washington, Stevenson, Washington.
Hello. My grandma wanted me to call and ask what the law was for the gravity of the 7-Up and how you drop the raisin in it.
Oh, you mean the experiment I told you where you take some 7-Up or tonic water, some carbonated water, clear, and drop raisins in it and see what happens. And did you do that?
Yep. We're doing it right now.
And what do you see happening, Raymond?
We dropped it at first, and it went to the bottom, and a few minutes later, it went up to the top, and then it went back down.
Okay. Now, have you looked very carefully to try to figure out why does the raisin sink and then suddenly float back up and then sink again? Have you noticed what's going on? See, the whole reason I told you about that and other kids a long time ago is for you to really observe what's going on, because you can see if you watch very carefully, and I'll just tell you here because most know what it is. You'll notice that when the raisin is down the bottom, gradually some little bubbles form on the surface of the raisin. Those little gas bubbles are like a life preserver, They makes the raisin more buoyant, and it'll float back up the top. And when it's up at the top, the bubbles burst. And then the raisin sinks again. That's what's going on. So you watch it very carefully and tell your grandma that's really what's going on, huh?
Okay.
Hey, thanks for calling from Washington, Raymond.
Okay.
Bye-bye now. Want to hear from you again. And Joanne in Crescent City, you're on KGO.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Bill.
Good
My
evening.
question is, sir, do you recall, with your radio experience, knowing a gentleman of KFI Los Angeles, late-night talk show host, and his name was Ben Hunter?
No, I don't.
Ben Hunter.
I have to admit, though, I've been on the radio for a long time, but I really don't spend much time listening to radio other than KGO.
He had a great theme song, which I can't remember the name of, but Ben Hunter was a true pioneer in late-night talk show radio. Very interesting, and I enjoy your show immensely. So,
well, I appreciate you listening and calling in, Joanne. Thank you very much.
Happy 4th. Thank you.
Happy 4th of July. And I want to remind you again now, gee, I'm surprised the switchboard's wide open for you. Here's a chance to talk to millions out there over the most listened to program and radio station, the open line to the West Coast, KGO, San Francisco. Your number, 8080810. KGO time now, 12:15. Time music of the 4th of July days. Juan in San Jose, you're on KGO San Francisco.
Hello, Dr. Wattenberg.
What's on your mind, Juan?
I guess I have this imaginary puzzle. Imagine there was a hole through the center of the earth, and you drop something, an object, through that hole. I know the gravity will immediately pull it down. I don't know if it'll go all the way through and out the other side and into space, or partially out and come back from Earth's gravity, or before it leaves the Earth's perimeter on the other side, maybe come back in.
Well, if you want to take the ideal case, let's assume a perfectly round Earth, equal density all the way through, okay? And you put this hole through the Earth, comes out on the other side in China from where we are, and you drop a ball in it, and if you assume the ball doesn't hit the sides of the wall, it just, goes straight through. Well, the dynamics are very simple. It's just like a pendulum. That ball will accelerate to its maximum velocity by the time it reaches the center of the Earth, and then it will decelerate, slow down as it goes out the other side because the gravity force is pulling it back, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
but it's obtained substantial force to keep going for a while.
Yes, it sustained substantial force when it was dropping towards the center, and then from the center on, it's subjected to the same substantial force pulling it back. You see,
so it'll come
it'll come just up to the surface on the other end and stop, and then fall back in the hole and start it all over again.
Well, that settles that.
What you have is the equivalent of a pendulum. You've seen a pendulum swinging on an arm.
Yes.
Okay. At both extremes, the pendulum has a maximum potential energy. It's not moving, so it has no kinetic energy. Okay? And in the middle, it has the maximum kinetic energy, the maximum velocity. That kinetic energy is put back into potential energy when it reaches the surface again. And, wait a minute. The equation of motion of that ball will be the same as the equation of motion of a near-Earth satellite. So I could even tell you that it'll take about 90 minutes for the ball to go to China and come back. That'll be the period of that pendulum, okay?
Oh, that was good.
Because the period of a low Earth satellite's about 90 minutes.
Oh, very good. On the shuttle, why wouldn't they just repair the shuttle on a later mission?
The point is, how do you repair the shuttle? Do you have enough glue and material to do it? For instance, the tiles that came off that caused the last tragedy, there's no way for certain that they would have the means to go out there and fix this, you see.
The Hubble telescope was repaired. There are repairs on the...
Yes, but it's quite different. Remember, the Hubble didn't have to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere under tremendously stressful situations and high temperature and all the things that destroyed the last shuttle.
From a cost-benefit analysis, you're going to sacrifice however many millions or $1 billion of a shuttle to just let it become space.
Well, let me put it another way. From the human life standpoint, what kind of a risk do you want to take? If for instance, it had damaged tiles...
No, I don't want to risk lives, but I want to...
All right, well, I'm just telling you, this is the trade-off, and it's not easily answered, because you can't pack every possible material and tool you'd need for every possible bit of damage that could happen. So what risk are you willing to take that you could make adequate repairs to be guaranteed that you could come through re-entry without it burning up? That's your question, you see.
Then they shouldn't send it out if it really hasn't been...
Well, that is a conclusion that some others have made. But keep in mind, every space flight that we've undertaken in the past and probably will in the future is a tremendous risk if certain things go wrong because there's no way to fix them. Okay? So
Thank you,
you have to scrub the entire man in space program to do that. Okay? Hey, but good point. Thanks for calling, Juan.
Bye-bye.
And Wendy in San Jose, you're on KGO.
Hello?
Yes, Wendy.
Hi, Dr. Bill. I'm sorry, I'm in a car. I have a male dog who, when he hears a fire truck or a fire, he howls unbelievably loud. Actually, I have two dogs, male dogs. My females don't do that. I was wondering if it hurts their ears or what.
You know, I don't know, but I've been around dogs all my life that howl whenever there's a siren. Okay? And,
it's so weird, but my females don't do it, only males.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you know, females don't get excited about a lot of things that males do. Isn't that true?
That's true.
Females have a little more detached view of the world before panicking over. Yeah,
it's really weird though. Like he has a whole different tone to it too. You know, when he's howling, it's like really deep there.
Yeah, I was always wondering if it was a mating call of some sort. You know,
it could be, or he's warning him out of the house or something. I don't know.
Yeah, a real throwback. I've heard the dog experts on, like Ron Owen's show, for instance. Ron has some really neat guys there. Or a guy that just a wealth of information when it comes to training dogs, and I'll bet he knows a lot about this. And the next time you hear the dog expert on Ron Owen's show, ask him that question, would you?
Will do. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for
Have
calling.
a great night.
Thank you, Wendy. Bye-bye. Steve in Sacramento, you're on KGO, San Francisco.
Hey, Dr. Bill. I really enjoy your show.
Thank you.
Hey, global warming. I have some friends that come over on occasion, and they love to, whenever there's a change in the weather, they love to talk about global warming.
Oh, yeah, it's all the fault of global warming, yeah.
Yes, it's going to get worse, and and I believe that the Earth is simply going through a cycle, and the Earth just changes. It goes through cycles, but I don't really know enough about it to really get in a good argument with them. How about your opinion on it and your knowledge of it, please?
Well, first of all, the people you find who will say, oh, everything's the cause of Earth warming, generally don't understand the dynamics or even where the Earth has been in the past. They just listen to what someone told them, and they get swept up by the latest hysteria, which is Earth warming and global warming. Now, my take on it is there's no question the Earth has been warming. You realize if it were not warming, we'd all be under a mile of ice. We're in a period, a 10,000-year period so far, that is very, very uncommon for the cycles the Earth has been through. We're in one of the quietest periods of time that science has been able to verify. In the past, the Earth had great extremes from ice ages where we were covered, as I said, with a mile of ice, right where we are here in the northern hemisphere, to times when it was much hotter and the Earth's oceans, by all evidence, were almost 30 feet higher. See, so what do you expect? Now, the real argument is Earth warming faster than it would be otherwise? That's what people don't realize they're really talking about. And, you know, there are many scientists who say there isn't good scientific evidence to say it's all the cause of man and more CO2 in the atmosphere. But here's the interesting thing, Steve, for those who say, hey, global warming is horrible and it's all man's fault, point out to them that the environmental saviors who tell you this stuff are the ones responsible for it. They're the ones who stopped all nuclear power in the world and forced the world to burn coal for 50% of our energy, and it's increasing every year. Coal's the biggest contributor of the horrible pollution in the air plus CO2. See? Well, we lost him there, but there's a little sidelight for you. Brandon in Redding, you're on KGO San Francisco. Brandon, are you with us?
Are you there, sir?
Yes, are you there?
Yes, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
From what I've been reading, I understand that string theory is taken us quite far ahead of our understanding of mathematics, and we've kind of delved into some things that we're not really sure what it is. And I was wondering what your thoughts are on the future of string theory and if it will prove out to be true and help us further in the mathematics and physics field. And I was wondering if I could get your call on the air so the rest of the family.
Well, I don't like to talk to dead air, but I can tell you very quickly. I have not followed string theory. I haven't delved into it. I'm not an expert on it by any means. I simply read what my colleagues have to say about it. It's an exciting theory. It has been for a long time. It still has not explained a lot of things that none of the other theories have explained.
Right.
And that's about all I can tell you. Whether or not it will prove to be more valuable than other analogies and other models, I can't tell you. Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir.
Hey, well, good luck. Thanks for calling, Brandon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And Dorothy in Moraga, you're on KGO San Francisco.
Yes, good evening. My question has to do with earthquakes.
Okay.
I've lived most of my 85 years in California, and I've experienced quite a few. Some seem to be accompanied by a very loud bang, and others are just shaking. What is actually happening that causes the noise?
Well, noise, first of all, is a pressure wave, Dorothy. In other words, pressure changes in the air. It hits our eardrums. That's what we call noise or sound. Now, an earthquake certainly creates pressure waves of some sort. I personally have never heard an earthquake or heard a bang you're talking about. I've certainly felt them.
Well,
but let me continue, Dorothy. I think in many cases, most of the noise that you hear associated with an earthquake is because buildings and structures and things are breaking or falling apart or hitting each other, you see.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've experienced a very loud, almost like an explosion sound that accompanies the earthquake.
When was this?
It was one of the more recent ones.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
And
well,
I wondered if it was because it was close to the epicenter or whether it was something that's actually slamming into something in the earth.
That I really don't know. I'm sorry, Dorothy, I can't answer that. All I know, the reports I've read, I haven't read of any that describe that kind of sound.
Uh-huh.
And yet it's quite common if you're around structures and buildings, as I said.
Yes, I do know that that sound also.
But hey, that one's beyond me, and maybe we've got an earthquake expert out there somewhere who'll tell us, huh?
Well, thank you. I'll be listening.
Hey, thank you for calling, Dorothy.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. And Lynn in San Jose, you're on KGO.
Oh, hi, Dr. Bill.
Yes, what's on your mind, Lynn?
Well, I've got a rather scary bear story.
Let's hear it.
I was up in Lake Elizabeth, which is like 8 miles above Tioga Pass. It was, a pretty good backpack, journey up there. And we're sitting around, just my husband and myself, and sitting around a fire. And I heard something behind me and had just a cheesy flashlight at the time. And I turned around and there was this enormous, I guess it's a black bear, but it had a white muzzle. And we only had a tube tent. He kind of just, waddled off, and we just had a tube tent to sleep in. And all night, this bear is pushing me, just going, pushing, rubbing, pushing against my body. It was most terrifying night.
When they're snooping around the camp, they have a way of liking to stick their nose into the side of a tent and really scare the dickens out of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I just kind of held my breath and, figured that eventually he'd calm down. And we had, practiced good bear techniques by, hanging the food in I think they call it a widowmaker.
Yeah, but the point is the bear doesn't believe that. That's why he's nosing your tent to see if you forgot anything. You're lucky you didn't have some food in there with a strong smell, or he would have ripped the tent open. I mean, he'd have pushed. You'd have gone out one way, and he'd have.
I felt very fortunate to have survived that night. It was very.
You're not alone. Hey, you're not alone, Lynn. Many people have experienced that one, including this guy. This guy. And,
all right, thank you.
All right, hey, well, thanks for calling and sharing that story with us. Take care. Here's Kim McAllister with the KGO News Update.
Thank you, Dr. Bill. Good morning. It is an update from KGO Radio. At least 20 militants have been killed in a clash with coalition troops in Afghanistan. Military officials say the fighters were part of a group that ambushed U.S.-led troops yesterday in the same region where 2 British troops were killed a day earlier. 6 French citizens, former inmates of the Guantanamo Bay prison operated by the U.S., will stand trial in Paris starting today on terrorism-related charges. Mexico's presidential race too close to call, and it will be at least Wednesday until a winner is known. The 2 leading candidates, Andrés López Obrador and Felipe Calderón, have both claimed victory already. NASA tried to launch Space Shuttle Discovery, but Mother Nature didn't cooperate, forcing scrubs on 2 launch attempts over the weekend. NASA plans to try again to launch Discovery tomorrow. On the roadways right now, we have a couple trouble spots out there. It looks like an accident closes down the Grant off-ramp from northbound 242 after a car ran off the roadway there and burst into flames. A stall in San Francisco, South 280 at Mission. That's in the right lane. Little Honda with the hazard lights on. KGO Traffic, brought to you by your Bay Area Mercedes-Benz dealers. The summer event is back. Through July 31st, get special lease and financing offers from Mercedes-Benz on select C, E, and M-Class models. Visit your Bay Area Mercedes-Benz dealer or BayAreaMercedes.com. Value unlike any other. KGO weather forecast. Partly cloudy skies with areas of fog overnight. Lows in the 50s for your Monday. Partial clearing by the afternoon. Highs in the upper 60s at the coast. Upper 80s inland. Right now, San Francisco, 55 degrees. Kim McAllister, KGO Radio News.
Okay, and we're back to the open line to the West Coast here. 27 minutes to go this morning, and I'll be back next Thursday and Friday, as I said earlier, 7 to 10 on the Gene Burns Show this week, and of course, next Saturday, Sunday, the open line to the West Coast again, 10 to 1. We have some lines open here, and I'll need another dozen or more of you, so come along. 8080810 is your number into the switchboard here, and the most listened to program and radio station. Millions out there waiting to hear from you, so don't disappoint them. Sure, you have a little good cheer, some great questions. Here's the place to do it. Tony in Pomona, down to Southern. What's on your mind?
Well, since you're talking about animals, I have a question for you, and I want to know if you know it. Now, they used to do it out here in California where they'd take like a grizzly bear and fight it against the lion, fight against the bull, and all that.
Where was that?
It happened like the 1800s. I don't know where there was in northern or southern California.
Yeah, I think that was a long time ago. Yes.
Right. Now, here's the weird thing about it. The bull would actually give the bear a better fight than the lion did. But my question is, between the lion and tiger, who do you think would win?
That I don't know. I don't have any idea. And fortunately, in their habitats, they don't cross paths that often, so that I don't know how much information there would be on that subject.
There's a lot, actually, and I'm going to tell you what the outcome is, and it's weird. But for every stage one they've had, where they were trying to make the lion look like it was, king of the beast, they always fought it against a female tiger. And even in this one movie, I think it was called The Great Cage, they fought it against a female tiger, and they actually had to stop the filming because the tiger the female almost killed it.
You killed the lion, you mean?
Yes.
Huh? Well, in general, and throughout the species, the females are the meanest buggers of all. When you really put them, you really challenge them. Look out. So.
Right, because they were trying to show in these, a lot of times when they used to do early Hollywood movies, they try to show the superior, with the lion being king of the beast, and they'd fight it against a female, and a lot of times it looked like it would win. And actually in Roman, when they used to do that in the Roman Colosseum, they said that the male tiger against the lion owned him. It wasn't even really a fight. That's how quick he took him down. That's, I guess, why they used the female. But
well, that's interesting. And hey, thanks for calling, Tony. Bye-bye. Robert in Grants Pass, Oregon, up to the great state of Oregon. You're on KGO, San Francisco.
Hi, Dr. Bill. I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I was calling about a previous caller with the setup of the hole all the way through the earth.
Yes.
And the ball going through. It seems to me that, as I understand it, when something drops, maximum velocity is achieved after about 33 feet, is it not?
Well, look, that sort of velocity is in air if you take air into account. And he was talking about the idealized case. But if you have air, then an object will reach what's called limiting velocity because of the air. Now, he didn't put that factor into his problem.
I see. So we're talking about a vacuum almost.
You're talking about a vacuum. If you drilled the hole and allowed normal air atmosphere to go in that hole, yes, indeed, quite a different story. It'll never achieve the maximum velocity, as much velocity at the center of the Earth as it would otherwise. And by the way, even with the air, that'll still be the point of maximum velocity.
It seems that after it passed the midpoint, theoretically, that it couldn't possibly go too much farther before gravity itself would be such a drag on it that it would...
Well, it may seem that way to you, but that's not true. Here's a very simple way to look at it. If you look at it from an energy standpoint, the ball that you're holding in your hand on this side of the Earth has a certain amount of potential energy, because when you drop it, it starts increasing in velocity. It gets more kinetic energy. That had to come from the potential energy.
Got it.
That potential energy isn't returned until the ball comes clear out the other side of the Earth, you see.
Got it. Okay.
Now
I
so,
understand it.
All righty.
Thank
Thanks for calling, Robert. Good question. And I think we have Kelly in Petaluma. You're on KGO San Francisco.
Hi.
What's on your
Thanks for
mind?
taking my call.
Sure.
My question has to do with the recent scrubs of the shuttle Discovery.
Okay.
And I was talking to my husband on the way to work today. I'm a nurse in San Francisco, and we were curious what effect if a lightning did strike the space shuttle, does it affect the electrical system, or does it affect the fuel payloads that sit outside, the external fuel things? I don't know what they're called.
Kelly, the answer is it can affect both and can be damaging to both. It can be tragic, of course, if it happened to penetrate the liquid hydrogen oxygen tanks. And it could also be tragic if it destroyed, any amount of the electronics on board. All of that's essential stuff.
Right. No, I understood that. I was just curious what exactly it was affecting.
Well,
I knew it was dangerous.
It depends on the size of the strike. Airplanes are hit by lightning all the time because they're flying between clouds that are charged up. Now, in many cases, you never notice it because as soon as the airplane gets charged up with a static charge of the same magnitude as what's in the cloud, then there's no flow of electrons, no current, so you don't see a lightning bolt. But
right, and I know cars are protected because the rubber tires are on the ground and they act as the ground.
That's true most of the time. But a lightning bolt can still penetrate that. On the other hand, the main reason you're protected is there's metal around you, so the current flows through that metal instead of through your body. You see?
Right. It flows around it, and then it's supposed to flow into the rubber and hit the ground.
It can still jump through the tires, but the metal around the body is what protects you. But a lightning strike, can bore a hole in metal, can destroy electronics. It can do a lot of things. So that's why they don't take the risk of encouraging one.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Hey, well, thank you for calling, Kelly. You're in a great
Have a good night.
You're in a great profession, by the way. Thank
you.
Bye-bye. And let's see, who's next up here? Jeff in Walnut Creek, you're on the open line to the West Coast. KGO, San Francisco.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Bill. Question is, I have a piece of land, a sloping piece of land that I'm putting an outbuilding on, and it's about 150 feet long and about 50 feet wide, and there's about a 10-foot drop over the 150-foot length. So I figure there's maybe 1,200 yards of dirt to move, and I have no idea what sort of enterprise that is or how much to figure per yard to move it, and it's regular, normal soil. It's not rocky.
Well, it always depends on where you're going to move it. Do you want to move it from the high ground to the low ground and just make a level spot?
Yeah, just push it around and contour it. I know there's guys...
And over what distance, 100 feet?
150 feet or so.
150 feet? That's about a day's work for a good dozer and a compactor.
Uh-huh.
That's not a big job. That's a pretty small job. 150 feet, 1,200 cubic yards. Well, you want to be very careful about it. move it, put it down in layers, and compact it as you do it. You can do it with a couple of pieces of equipment in a couple of days.
And any suggestions of where to look for that type of work?
Oh, yeah, all your small contractors. Where are you located?
Contra Costa, Lafayette area.
Well, heck, over by Pacheco and all over your area, there are guys with backhoes and little bulldozers. Most of the small contractors you'll see with a 10-wheel dump truck and a equipment hauler, or we call it a little flatbed trailer. It'll carry a small dozer or a backhoe.
So I don't need like a D9 or anything for that?
No. Hey, I owned a big fleet of D9s once. I can tell you, you don't use D9s for jobs that are only 150 feet long.
Okay.
If you're just, this is called making a pad, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You want to level a pad and take the high ground and put it in the low ground. That's what you want to do. You don't want to, you're not going to throw any of this dirt away, are you?
No hauling, no.
All right. Whenever you leave the dirt on site, that's making a pad.
Okay.
And hey, look, somebody around had a D8, that's a day's job. If you got a D6, it's D4 or something, maybe a couple of days' job.
Okay.
Look around for the small contractors. You find zillions of them in the yellow pages.
Gotcha.
That have got a small bulldozer, anything D4 on up in size, Case, John Deere, Komatsu, whatever they got. And a little compactor, because one of the things you want to do is compact that dirt.
Right.
Don't just push it over there.
Right.
Now, that kind of dirt, if you have a big enough bulldozer, a lot of times you can compact it with the bulldozer. As you push it over, if you get a little water on it,
okay,
then you can just run over it with the tracks of the bulldozer. But if you're going to build a house and put a concrete pad down, which you're probably going to do, aren't you?
Yeah.
You want really good compaction under that, or your concrete's going to crack.
Got it.
So the thing you want to insist on, whatever contractor you get, is that he has a compactor, okay?
Okay.
And that's a tight little area, so a sheep's foot compactor is tough to use. That's a big drum, with spikes on it.
With spikes on it.
What you want is a guy that's got a little vibratory drum roller, okay?
Okay.
And he wants to be running that roller while you're pushing the dirt out there to get good compaction. Otherwise, your concrete's going to break.
Got it. Okay.
That's the biggest factor you're going to run into is when you make this pad. Where you cut the dirt, it'll be pretty well compacted.
Right.
Okay? But where you fill the dirt, it's going to be soft.
Right.
And right at that edge is where your concrete slab's going to break after you get all done.
Right.
See?
Yeah, that's where the density changes.
Now, if you get a guy that really knows what he's doing, you look it over, you might be smart for just 150 feet to put a little fabric under it. That fabric you've heard me talk about earlier is can really keep water from penetrating, give you a much more firmer pad.
Is it like a weed mat sort of nylon thing? Or
no, they're fiberglass. They're used in soft ground. You can lay this fiberglass pad down and put dirt over top of it, and you can walk a truck over a marsh because it spreads all the weight is spread out over a bigger area.
Is it like a net?
It's like a big black blanket. It's like tar paper. Okay.
Okay.
Now, talk to, you really should talk to a civil engineer there. What's this building going to cost you?
Oh, $300,000-$400,000 probably.
Hey, for $300,000 or $400,000, you don't want the concrete breaking up. Why don't you spend $10,000, make sure it's engineered right, huh?
Would that be for the engineering and the work?
Yeah, just the engineering. But hey, you might get a guy for $3,000 or $4,000 with a pad like that to set the stakes. Make sure you've got it engineered and staked for the level that you want, and give you some advice on compaction and whether you should put the fabric down. Huh?
Right, like a geotechnical.
That's right. Get a geotechnical guy or a civil engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Just look up a civil engineering firm and tell them what you're interested in. You get some of them will give you a quote. Usually they'll do it time and materials, but a good civil engineer, even if it costs you $300 or $400 an hour, shouldn't take more than 2 days to do that for you.
Right. Okay.
I'd really advise you to do that. And then they can also refer you to some contractors they've worked with who know what they're doing.
Okay.
I mean, I build a lot of these, and I'll tell you, I know every one of them that I did wrong because I can go over there and show you a big crack in the concrete, okay?
All right.
And yet I built some that amaze people. I've got a tennis court that I built in a place where every tennis court's cracked. And this one doesn't have a crack in it after 6 years.
So you compacted it good.
Yeah, that's right. That's because I took 2 years to let the fill itself will settle naturally, and then put base rock on it, and then rolled the dickens out of it, and then did it again the next year. See?
Okay. Right.
Good luck.
Hey,
good luck, Jeff.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. KGO time now, 12:46. Yes, the 4th of July coming up here shortly, and there's some very appropriate music. Craig in Alameda, you're on KGO San Francisco.
Dr. Bill, good talking with you. Hey, I've been reading a lot on the net about how they're saying for the 9/11, the towers dropping, that the airplane fuel is not hot enough to melt those steel girders.
Yeah, well, they're nuts, and that stuff's been going around, and I think it's vulgar and cruel.
Yes.
But you've got a whole gang of first-class nuts. You know, they can dump anything on the Internet, claiming all sorts of conspiracies. The United States and Bush and Cheney calculated this, and but it's just crazy. The evidence is very clear, and the fuel load was hot enough to soften those girders in that building, and it's been analyzed, 20 times, and there's no question. There's actual film of what happened to it. Okay. So,
watching it, man.
Yeah, if you want to believe these nuts, you just help them out. That's all. Hey, okay. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. Jesse in Novato, you're on KGO San Francisco.
Hi, Dr. Bill. I just wanted to make a comment on your comments. I heard you talking about the oil or coming up with the idea to put your razors, the razors you shave with, into a little oil receptacle or a cup full of oil.
What'd you find out? Did you try it?
Well, yeah, I found that they sell this type of contraption at your local drugstore.
Sure.
They sell you a little packet with a little cup you can put your razor in along with the oil.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it. When I use a razor, I rinse it off with hot water.
Yes.
And then I stick it in this.
Okay. Well, look, we're going to get short of time here, Jesse. There are two things that make a difference. One, get the moisture off the edge of the blade. That accelerates the rough, and so you can dry it even if you take a hair dryer and blow dry it a little bit. And the second one is to cover it so that the moisture in the air doesn't come in contact with it over the next few days. See?
Yeah. So I guess what you're getting at is you do get a little water down in the oil, and then you'll have a bunch of water with the oil sitting on top. That's not a good thing, right?
No. The game is cover that sharp edge so it's not exposed to water. Okay, that's what accelerates the rusting, the tiny little nicks in it, and you'll find that you can stretch the lifetime of a blade 2 and 3 times what you're normally using it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, take care and thanks for calling.
Thank you.
And one of my very favorite songs that our servicemen overseas every week requested. They very much love to hear it. I want you to hear it again. Very appropriate.
Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. But I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
There we have Lee Greenwood with a song he made very famous. And today, I still marvel, as I said so many times, I do not understand Americans who want America to lose. And I mean in Iraq, where clearly that's the battlefront against terrorists and Al-Qaeda now. They make their claim.
and then the pot wore off.
But, Ron, are you still doing the same drugs?
No.
Followed at 2 p.m. by the Pete Wilson Program.
Me gotta go, Louie Louie, me gotta go. You just have to appreciate the details of that story, don't you?
And the magic is only available here at KGO News Talk 810.
Well, we're winding down. Open line to the West Coast this morning. Not enough time for another caller here, but you know, the telephone company does that every time. They knock us off the air here from where I am about 3 minutes before 1. I wonder when they're going to stop doing that nonsense. At any rate, you've been a marvelous audience as usual, and by all means, stay tuned to KGO tomorrow morning. You listen to Ron Owens, Dina Dell, Pete Wilson, Gene Burns. You'll hear some real balance and a lot of information, as I've said many, many times. And I'll be back this Thursday and Friday coming up, the 6th and 7th of July, 7 to 10 p.m. in the evening for the Gene Burns Show. And then, of course, the open line to the West Coast again next Saturday, Sunday, 10 to 1. Stay tuned now for Ray Taliaferro coming up on KGO. And as I said, for KGO, you've been a marvelous audience. Talk to you again this coming week. This is KGO San Francisco, San Jose, Oakland at 810 on the AM dial everywhere.
From ABC News, I'm Brad Wheelis. There could be something much more impressive than a bottle rocket in the skies this 4th of July. NASA is hoping to launch the Space Shuttle Discovery tomorrow, but it will all depend on the weather. ABC's Vic Ratner was at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida when astronauts got word yesterday's launch was being scrubbed because of thunderstorms in the area.
For the crew, the smiles and thumbs up of earlier in the day turned to disappointment and resignation. Florida's fickle weather is still something NASA cannot do anything about. One astronaut says you just get used to it.
One NASA official says a launch on the 4th of July would be a great gift to the nation. Millions of Mexicans went to the polls, including thousands who live here in the U.S. We won't know who will be that country's president until Wednesday, but each candidate is declaring victory. ABC's John Quinones is in Mexico City.
It was a strange night of unbelievable contradiction. The election here is so close that Mexico's Electoral Commission announced they could not call a winner. Well, within seconds, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, the leftist candidate, appeared before his supporters, announced that he had won the election. Then, minutes later, Felipe Calderón, the conservative candidate, appeared before the cameras and said he had won this election. On the streets of downtown Mexico City, protesters are now charging fraud. John Quinones, ABC News, Mexico City.
Palestinian militants are demanding Israel start releasing prisoners by tonight or face the consequences. The militant groups abducted an Israeli soldier last week. Israel's prime minister has ordered the military to do all it can to secure the soldier's release. An 18-year-old driver may face charges after his car plowed into a crowd in Madison, Indiana. Fans were gathered to watch a speedboat regatta on the Ohio River. 11 people were injured. Police say the driver was slumped over the wheel when the car careened into that crowd. You're listening to ABC News.
This year, the government's going to give out over $350 billion to people like you who want to start a business, go back to school, or train for a new job. I'm Matthew Lesko, and I've written over 70 books on government programs. You've probably seen me all over the television shows, on talk shows. My new program shows you 15,000 government sources, or you can get like $100,000 to open up a coffee shop, $15,000 to write a book, or $30,000 to become a French chef, $9,000 to take a computer course, or $15,000 to finish college, get a GED, or a PhD. There's money to travel overseas, train your employees, or work on your invention. I've done all the work. You just have to make the call. Call toll-free 877-ASK-LESCO, and you'll get my book and 6-hour audio tape program for only 2 payments of $29.95 plus $7.50 postage and handling. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee. Call toll-free 877-ASK-LESCO or 1-877-275-5375.
The oohs and ahs this time of year are often accompanied by screams of ouch. From 1990 to 2003, about 85,000 U.S. children were treated in emergency rooms for burns and other injuries from fireworks. Last year, nearly 11,000 children and adults were treated, an increase from the previous year. Sparklers accounted for many of the injuries among children. The report is in the journal Pediatrics. The slot machines may be silenced in Atlantic City Wednesday. New Jersey lawmakers failed to pass a budget, and that means the state agency that oversees gambling won't be in operation. The 12 casinos were ordered to shut down. Owners are fighting it in court. Even state beaches are scheduled to close, which is upsetting to this New Jersey resident.
We all pay taxes, high taxes, and for them to do this is not being fair to us.
The governor said Sunday there is no prospect of a budget. If the casinos shut down, the state could lose $2 million in tax revenue each day. Penny for your thoughts? Not with inflation. A penny isn't worth, well, a penny. One group says the 1 cent piece needs to go.
The lowly penny worth just 1 cent may soon be a thing of the past. The copper-colored coin is now officially more expensive to produce than it's worth. One group is advocating for the penny to be abolished. Even so, it won't be easy. Gallup polls show most Americans want to keep the penny around.
ABC's Barbara Britt in Washington. This is ABC News.
What was your cable TV bill last month? Do you remember what you paid 10 years ago? Have you noticed the price of movie tickets lately? Are you seeing a pattern here? The cost of our basic information and entertainment needs keeps going up, but there is one medium that is still free, and you're listening to it. Local radio. Support the advertisers that support this radio station, and keep listening. We won't send you a bill. There are still some things you just shouldn't have to pay for.
I'm Brad Wheelis, ABC News.
KGO Radio News Time 105. Good morning. I'm Kim McAllister. Here's the latest now in the Bay Area and the state. It's a busy weekend for fires. The Alameda County Fire Department still responding to a brush fire right near Highway 580 at the Altamont Pass Road in unincorporated Alameda County near Livermore. That fire about 10 acres in size. California Department of Forestry says emergency crews responded to several fires in the Alameda County area Sunday. Chris Morgan is a fire prevention specialist with the department.
First fire came around. It was the Arroyo fire off Arroyo Road in Livermore, 15 acres. We got that out fairly quickly. The second one was very large, Corral Hollow Road near 580. It's already been contained at about 200 plus acres. Third one was the Altamont Road, Flynn Road area, just off 580. That was a small fire. The last one was off of Grant Line Road, so it's been very busy.
Another wildfire